What's going on, chat? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Apologies for the delay on the start of the stream, but I hope everyone is doing well. Hello, hello. Been a while. Yeah. Apologies, chat on the Scuff stream. Hope all of you are doing well out there. It is I, Capybara, back again on YouTube after a very, very long time. Not being, active and not really like doing any particular like live stream content on YouTube. Um, yeah, so chat, I thought what I'd do is I'd take a moment to first of all say hello to everyone, and then also on top of that, I wanted to, kind of just, you know, talk about what's been going on recently. Yeah, basically just talking about what I've been up to and all that fun stuff, right? And explain like a little bit about how this live stream is gonna work here. Let me see here. I'm checking some settings here with Genshin. I'm actually very curious. If I were to... Let me see. For some reason, my software that I'm using for streaming right now, it does not seem to want to capture the audio. Yeah, it's not capturing anything. Oh man. This is a lot of fun. I heckin' love doing this live. Let me see here. I'm gonna remove that, and then I'm gonna re-add it. Let's see. Audio... Application audio? Is this it? I think this is it. And then... Add source. Wow, yeah, this thing does not want to capture the audio. What the hell? This is one of the things like that I absolutely hate about this software, chat. For those, so let me give you guys some background context, right? Right now, I am currently using a particular application which is called Streamlabs Desktop. And for anyone out there who does not know um, about Streamlabs Desktop, basically, I would say that it is kind of like a very, very like primitive, um, streaming application program. I think that it can work and it can do a decently okay job of, allowing you to stream to a platform, but the way that this application is set up, like all of the settings and the way that it runs, the way that it works, it is an absolute nightmare to use. It is not, um, it's not very user friendly, is I guess a good way to say it. Um, so yeah, it is very, very like kind of beginner in terms of the sort of software, the sort of programming and the capabilities, the functions that it has. Very much a primitive tool. Um, I think that Streamlabs Desktop, it is kind of something that wishes it was better than it is. It wishes that it could do the same things that OBS can do, but it fails miserably. Absolutely miserably. Um, yeah. Yeah, it's just, it is not well designed. Let me see here. Capture audio beta. Okay, transform. Why is it such a weird size? There we go. That's much better. That's what it should be. And then Oh, there we go. It's at the very, very bottom. There we go. Okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, so one of the things that is really annoying about Streamlabs, I can talk about this since I just now kind of barely managed to fix it and update it. Basically on Streamlabs, right? They, I think they did eventually add the feature in chat, but like the amount of time it took for them to add in the feature, it was delayed. It was a lot longer than it should have been. Basically, there was a feature that was added to OBS, which is a really, really useful feature where when you are adding like a source, let's say Genshin or any other video game, right? In the past, how you would do it is you would add a source for the game, right? The visual, and then you would add a second source, a different source, and this other source would be specifically for capturing the audio of the video game. And so when you looked on OBS, you would have your list of sources, and there would be one for video and one for audio. After a while, OBS they released this kind of update where now you could capture the video of your game or whatever activity it is that you're doing, and also at the same time, that same video source had the ability to capture the audio. Now, the way that they set it up on OBS is that when you were trying to capture the audio of whatever game it was that you were playing, it would say like beta version, right? Because they don't want to they just wanted to make it clear to the users that there might be issues with it. It may not function 100% properly, and it's not like technologically completely flawless, right? So they did that on OBS, and I think like not long after OBS, I opened up Streamlabs and I checked Streamlabs to see if Streamlabs had something similar to that, and they didn't. Basically, Streamlabs you had to do the old outdated method of basically adding a video source and then separately an audio source, right? However, eventually Streamlabs did add in the function to capture both the video and the audio with one source, which is much, much, much better. The thing is that just now, when I was messing around with the audio for Genshin, I thought that I needed to add a separate audio source just in case. It turns out that I don't need to, and that there is, audio being captured from the game. It's just very kind of difficult to tell every once in a while because the audio in Genshin, the audio is not like constant, right? There's not always sound. There are sometimes moments where like the music will pause and there'll be silence, and then if you like open up the map or you open up the menu, right, there might be some silence, or there might be some lower volume audio, and so it doesn't always get captured. Um, but yeah. Anyways, so chat, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys sort of a breakdown of today's stream and how it's gonna work. Because it's been a while since I've streamed on YouTube, and to be honest, the experience of streaming on YouTube versus streaming on Twitch is very, very different. So I wanted to explain a couple of things for anyone out there who might potentially be like a new viewer, who has never ever seen me stream before, right? So as I mentioned, I am using this application to stream, which is called Streamlabs Desktop. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like Streamlabs Desktop. I think that it's a really, really crappy, piece of software or particular application. I think that it is very, very inferior compared to OBS. And you might be wondering, well, why are you using Streamlabs? Basically, the way that it works is that if you are using OBS, right? Let's say that you are similar to me, you use OBS and you stream on Twitch, right? That means that in the OBS application, you are logged in to your Twitch account. And if you wanted to use OBS in order to stream on YouTube, you would have to basically log out of your Twitch account on OBS and you would have to log into YouTube. And when you do that, you know, at the very least, the last time that I checked on this, when you swap from Twitch to YouTube on OBS, it kind of erases your stream setup, right? So you have all your sources, you have all of your different scenes and whatnot, you have your video settings, your audio settings on OBS that is, you know, particularly set up for Twitch. It basically takes all of that and it erases it. And then it's like, okay, you are now setting up your live stream for YouTube. Go and set up, you know, your scenes, go and set up your sources, your specific settings. So yeah, basically TLDR, swapping on OBS between Twitch and YouTube, and then like back to Twitch or back to YouTube or whatever, flip-flopping back and forth is very, very inefficient. It's very suboptimal. I don't like doing it. And so I always, always, always have my OBS logged into Twitch and have it set up specifically for Twitch streaming. That means that since I can't really use OBS for YouTube, I have to get a different application. I have to get a different program. And unfortunately, Streamlabs Desktop is basically the only one out there that is like well-known, trustworthy, and, you know, it functions. It works. It's not great, but it does the job, right? So compared to like my Twitch live streams, which I think that, you know, at the very least, I would like to say that my Twitch live streams are much more of a like smooth, well-oiled machine. You know, I feel a lot more comfortable. I feel better at streaming when I'm doing it on Twitch. Compared to that, YouTube is going to be a lot more scuffed. It's going to be a lot more kind of yeah, kind of like watching a rookie or a newbie who doesn't really know much about streaming trying to do it on YouTube, because unfortunately the tools that I'm using to stream on YouTube are very, very primitive. You know, to give you a very quick example, right? On YouTube, so okay, when I stream on Twitch, I have like a dedicated like intro song and an outro song for my streams. And I use them all the time. I love, you know, having an intro and an outro. It makes it seem a lot more like I am hosting a stream rather than, you know, me just talking into the void and you know, just yeah, looking at a webcam and talking to nobody, right? So on Twitch I have an intro and an outro song. However, I can't really do that on YouTube because those songs that I use, they would be considered as copyright protected, and you know, I would probably get DMCA'd for both of those songs on YouTube if I were to try to use them. So I'm not going to be using them, which is why, you know, the beginning of my stream was basically silent, and the end of my stream will basically be silent as well, where I'll just be like, all right, bye guys. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah. Let me give you guys a little bit more background, a little bit more context, because I want to talk about basically, you know, what I've been up to and kind of like why I'm streaming on YouTube today, here and now, right? So for those of you out there who don't really follow me on Twitch, who don't really know kind of like what I've been doing in terms of content creation on Twitch, I can sort of explain a little bit. Basically, I recently had this moment that made me stop and think. And I had this moment where I really needed to kind of reflect upon myself and, think about what I want to do moving forward in the future, right? Basically, there was a Twitch streamer that I really, really love their content. I enjoy what they do on Twitch. And I would say that, out of all the different channels that I follow, this particular streamer is one of the channels that I watch most often, right? This streamer, they primarily create content about Souls games. They primarily play, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, um, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Lies of P as well. They've played a wide variety of different games, especially Souls games, right? And so I've been watching them for a while. I got introduced to their channel from a Twitch raid that happened, where I was watching someone else and they raided over to this channel, right? Um, so this particular streamer, they are an awesome human being. I really, really appreciate their content. I really enjoy watching their streams on Twitch. And very recently, this amazing human being, they managed to finally achieve the very incredible, amazing status of Twitch partner, right? And yeah, basically, Twitch partner, what it kind of sort of signifies is that you are sort of like a professional streamer, right? And it kind of shows other people that you are not just like a random nobody on the internet. You are someone that has, viewers, someone that has a community, someone that, is well liked and well respected as a creator, right? So they recently got Twitch partner, and I was extremely happy for them. Very, very much, just like, yeah, very, very excited for the amazing accomplishment that they got. And yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty common sense. I think it's pretty obvious. When you do something like Twitch streaming, right? When you decide to try and be like a creator on Twitch, right? I think it's basically everybody's dream or goal or desire to become a Twitch partner. Um, you know, it may be for the money, like maybe you want to turn streaming into a full-time job. It may be for basically the sort of like recognition and the fame, right? Um, there's various different reasons why someone might want to pursue Twitch partner, but I think that a lot of people who stream on Twitch, that is the end goal, right? That is the desire. Um, so, I witnessed this moment where this streamer that I've been watching for a while. I remember way back when this streamer, he basically was streaming and there was roughly about 30 people or 40 people that would watch his streams when he went live. And that is very impressive to me, especially because when I stream on Twitch, I get like, maybe two viewers maximum. That's basically it. So, I was in his community. I was watching his streams back when he had, 30 people watching him. And then as time went on, right, he started to get more and more viewers. And a thing that really, really kind of like boosted his progression towards Twitch partner is that Twitch, I think it was sometime last year, they basically updated their policy where they said that from now on, if you get rated by another channel, the raiders that, come by your stream and they stay and they watch, right? Those raiders will count towards your channel analytics, right? And for those of you out there who don't really know about the sort of process of Twitch Partner, like how do you get Twitch Partner, right? There's a couple of different requirements. However, I think that I would say every single requirement, except for one specific requirement, right, is quite easy to achieve, right? I think that there is one particular objective that you need to achieve, you need to surpass it, and this is like the number one main thing where it's like, if you are able to do it, you qualify for Twitch Partner and you get partnership. But if you don't, even if you easily accomplish the other objectives, you will never ever ever be Twitch Partner, right? And that one particular objective is that in order to be eligible for Twitch Partner, you need to have over the span of 30 days, right? You need to have an average of 75 viewers, um, you know, over the course of however many hours that you stream, right? So within 30 days, what they do is they're like, okay, they take a 30-day time frame, which is basically a month, and they're like, okay, how many hours did he stream, right? And you have to have a minimum number of hours streamed. I think the number is like it's honestly kind of a low number. I don't remember what the exact one is. I can probably check it here. Let me see. If I go to let me take a look here. Do do do. Achievements? I think it's achievements. Oh yeah, wow. That is very, very impressively low. So basically, right, in order to achieve partner, the amount of hours that you are required to stream is a minimum of 25 hours, right? During a span of 30 days, right? So that means that basically, if you were to take 30 days, right, and you look at the fact that you need 25 hours minimum, that's like less than 1 hour each day of the 30 days, right? So 25 hours minimum you need to stream within 30 days. And what they do is they look at the 30 days and they're like, okay, how many hours did this person stream? And let's say that, hypothetically, you streamed like maybe let's say 100 hours, okay? Some people are actually able to accomplish that. They're able to stream for 100 hours or maybe even like less than 100 hours, right? Sometimes even more than 100 hours. I know people who stream like maybe 150 hours a month or something like that, right? It's crazy. Um, but let's say you stream for like 100 hours in 30 days. What they do is they're like, okay, 100 hours, the average amount of viewers that you need to have across those 100 hours is 75 average viewers, right? Um, and so, yeah, the way that I kind of look at it, right? The way that I kind of calculate it is if you really don't want to go too deep into like the mathematics and the sort of like, specifically detailed calculations with the numbers, um, all you really need to know is that on average, every single live stream that you do, whether you stream for 1 hour, whether you stream for 7 hours, whether you stream for, 12 hours, right? Every stream that you do, you want to try to have a minimum of 75 viewers or more, you know, within 30 days. Now, of course, that is a very generic, very general rule of thumb where, let's say that one stream you have 72 viewers average, right? The next stream that you do, if you have like, 85 or 90 viewers average, that will make up for the lower number that you had the stream before. So it's not like every single stream you have to do 75 or higher. It's more like you need to be roughly around the 75 number range. And then after 30 days, you do the calculations, you average everything out, and if you are at least 75 or higher, you qualify. And the nice thing is that, like, on Twitch, right, if you go to the streamer dashboard, it will show you your progress, and it'll actually do the mathematical calculations. It'll do the averaging for you. It'll be like, hey, within the last 30 days, this is your average amount of viewers, right? And it'll be like blank number out of 75. That is your current progress. So that right there, that is the hardest thing to, accomplish in order to get Twitch partner. I think that once you accomplish that average of 75 or more, you are chilling, you're vibing, you are basically guaranteed to be a Twitch partner, right? So, anyways, back to the story, okay? This streamer that I have been watching for a while recently got Twitch partnership. And when they talked about, their progress, right, and what it took for them to get to this point, they mentioned that they've been streaming on Twitch for 7 years, right? 7 goddamn years. And it's actually kind of funny because there's another massive content creator, another amazing individual on Twitch by the name of Pirate Software, right? You may have heard about him because the way that he became popular is that he uploaded some stuff to YouTube, and I think specifically he uploaded a couple of YouTube shorts that became really popular. They went viral, they went trending, and Pirate Software gained popularity, and then, people decided to go and check him out on Twitch and start watching him. And I believe that before Pirate Software became so famous and became sort of like a massive content creator, he was streaming on Twitch previous to that for like 7 years, or maybe even like longer than 7 years, right? So yeah, basically the streamer that I have been watching for a while, they recently got Twitch partner, and they mentioned that it's been a long journey. They've taken 7 years to get to where they were. Um, and when that happened, right? When the streamer got Twitch partner, I think that for me, it was a very, very bittersweet moment. The reason why is because, on the one hand, I am so incredibly happy for this particular individual. I'm very happy for this streamer. I think that they deserve all the success that they have accomplished, right? But on the other hand, I think that, I am also a little bit, I think I'm a little bit envious of their situation, right? And the reason why is because, it's not really this feeling of, oh man, I wish that I was that streamer. I wish that I was in their shoes and that I was a Twitch partner instead of them, right? I think more so my feeling of, envy is just that, like, I wish that I could stand up next to that person, right? I wish that I could be standing where they are, but standing right next to them rather than standing in their place. You know what I mean? And I kind of wish that, like, I wish that they became a Twitch partner, right? Which they did. And I wish that I also became a Twitch partner with them, because, one of the things that I do feel like, it was a, it was a thing that kind of connected me and this person, right? Now, I know that this might sound a little bit parasocial, it might sound a little bit strange, but like, me as a viewer of this person, of their streams, right? I I watched a lot of their live streams, and I always thought to myself, like, man, I look up to this person, I respect them, I admire them, I want to be a creator similar to them, right? And before this streamer became a Twitch partner, I always felt this sort of companionship with this streamer because they were similar to me, right? Both of us at the time, we were both Twitch affiliates, and we were both trying to work on getting better, improving, and, eventually reaching that particular goal, that particular dream, that desire of Twitch partnership, right? And so I felt like, me and the streamer had some things, quite a few things that we could relate, with one another, right? Where it's like, yeah, both me and him were in similar situations, right? Um, and I think that, like, seeing this streamer achieve Twitch partner, it was something where, on the one hand, I'm very, very happy, right? On the other hand, I kind of had this realization that, oh man, this streamer, they are far ahead of me. Like, really, really, like, they just are, um, many, many steps ahead of me. And they have already achieved the goal that I want to achieve. And they are basically discovering success while I am falling behind. And I am not even close to reaching the point where they have gotten to, right? And so, with that bittersweet moment of this streamer achieving partner and celebrating, it made me stop and think and really kind of like reflect on myself, reflect on, my content, my channel, and everything, right? And this has been something that I've been kind of processing in the back of my head for a while. But I had this moment where I was reflecting, and I kind of just realized that what I was thinking in the back of my head is truthful. And, you know, there is there's not really any way for me to sugarcoat it, for me to try to hide it, or try to, you know, I guess, like, explain it in any other different way, right? Um I had this moment where I kind of realized the cold hard truth, which is that you know, if you are a content creator, if you are a streamer, who is not, insanely famous and massive and popular, right? If you are not someone like Ziox, or someone like, Tuwanto, or who else? Anthony Chen, Fobmaster, right? OK Code, right? Who else? Like, all of these major, massive, huge streamers, huge content creators, if you are not one of them, and you are someone who is, like, kind of unknown, someone who is kind of a nobody on Twitch and on YouTube and whatever, if you are someone like that, and you are basically trying to create content about games like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, or, any other kind of like similar game out there, right? Like a gacha game, you know? Um, Trying to create content about that type of stuff, it's not really it's not really optimal. It's not really effective. It's not really efficient. The amount of viewers on Twitch that will go to a small streamer and watch them play Genshin, or play Honkai Star Rail, or play Wuthering Waves, or whatever, right? It's very, very, very low. It's very minuscule, right? All of the Twitch viewers, they automatically flock to the big streamers, right? They flock to the streamers that are famous, that are popular, that are well liked and well respected, because the Twitch viewers, they have a guarantee. They know for a fact that these big content creators will be able to entertain them in a way that they will not regret, and they will not be bored, they will not be disappointed, right? Things like that. Whereas with like small content creators who have a lot less viewers, people on Twitch, they don't really want to take the opportunity to watch a small streamer because it's kind of a risk. It's kind of like a little bit of a gamble where, they are not entirely sure whether they will watch the stream and enjoy it, or whether they will watch the stream and be bored out of their fucking mind and, not care about what is being, played, what is being showcased, or whatever, right? So it is very, very, very difficult to basically be a small content creator on Twitch, and I would probably say on YouTube as well, when you are trying to create content about a particular topic or subject that is so saturated, right? So incredibly filled with a bunch of massive content creators that are already taking up the 99% majority of the views, right? And so yeah, I kind of grew to realize that attempting to continue creating content about Genshin, about Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, any other gacha game out there that exists, I think that trying to create content about it as a small viewer, small streamer, as a nobody on these platforms, it is basically not going to lead anywhere. Like there is going to be no positive result out of it, right? And so I had this moment where I was sitting down, I was reflecting to myself, and I had this realization, right? So basically, the streamer that I mentioned to you guys who recently became a Twitch partner, I have like heard sort of his story, and I sort of learned about what he did to kind of like grow and improve and get better and eventually grow to the point where he earned Twitch partner, right? And I cannot do what he did. Whatever stuff that he did in order to um you know get to the point where he is now and achieve success, I cannot replicate it one by one because the things that he was able to do, I just don't have the skill and the talent for it, right? But even so, I think that I can still take inspiration from what he did, and I can kind of try to do something vaguely similar, right? Basically, to summarize, at the very beginning, when this particular streamer started, making content on Twitch, he played a lot of different variety games. He would basically just play anything and everything that he enjoyed, right? And he did find some people, a couple of people that would like watch his streams and would enjoy his content, right? But basically what he mentioned is that during the days when he streamed variety content, he did not discover a lot of success, right? Like he did not grow his streams on Twitch by a lot, playing variety. Like he kind of stayed as a small streamer for many, many years, doing the variety thing. And, eventually he started playing Souls games, right? I think like he started off by playing one Souls game, and I think he was just doing like a regular plain casual playthrough of a Souls game, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess that he noticed when he played the Souls game that he was like getting more viewers, and there were more people who were willing to watch his content, right? And so after a while, I think that he went on to like, he would play Souls games, just casually, just normally, right? And I don't know when it happened, or I don't know exactly why it happened, right? But at some point, this streamer, he kind of made a decision where he was like, I want to try doing, very difficult challenges for these Souls games, right? I want to play these Souls games, and I want to try, playing the Souls game without getting hit a single time, without dying a single time. Maybe playing these Souls games with only one particular weapon or one particular, like special ability or whatnot. Um, there would be like some challenge runs where you are only allowed to level up one single stat, and that's it. You can't level up anything else. So this streamer decided that he kind of wanted to dive into challenge content, right? For Souls games. Um, I don't really know the specifics about like when it happened or why he decided to, but he just made that decision, right? And so he started doing that. He played these Souls games, and he would do these like very, very impressive challenges with these Souls games. And as he kind of like started working on that, and started doing streams about that sort of stuff, he shifted away from doing variety, and he got more involved in the challenge community, right? He is a part of a community that, they focus on speed runs, they focus on challenge runs for Souls games, and the name of the community is called Team Hitless, right? And so, yeah, basically with Team Hitless, the way that it works is that you can complete a challenge, and then you submit this completed challenge to, these people that are known as verifiers, and they will take a look at your challenge run. They will make sure that you didn't cheat, you didn't do anything that is, not really following the sort of rules of the challenge, and they will check to make sure that your challenge run looks good. And then if it looks good, they will be like, okay, this content creator, they completed this challenge on this day at this time, and this is the proof of their challenge run, right? So there's this community set up to sort of kind of celebrate people who complete interesting challenges for these games, difficult challenges for these games. And yeah, this streamer, he basically, decided to dive into that world, and kind of become more familiar with it, and become a part of that community, right? And so he made this decision where he was like, all right, from now on, I am going to solely focus on playing Souls games, and I'm going to focus on doing challenge runs for these Souls games, right? And, he stopped streaming variety stuff, and he would like network and connect and chat with all these various different like Souls content creators, right? And it's very impressive because like this streamer that I watch, he is, I don't know if friends is the right word, because I don't know if they consider themselves to be very, very close to one another in this manner. But like this streamer, he is very well acquainted with a lot of massive content creators, a lot of massive soul streamers, and they know this streamer, and they like, will chat with him, and they will, during their live streams, right, their own separate live streams, they'll be like, oh yeah, hey, blah blah blah, how's it going? And they'll address him, in person, right? They'll address him by name, and they'll call out to him and say like, what's up, what's going on? And they are very well aware of each other, right? So yeah, basically the streamer, he has a really really good network of connections within the Souls community now, and yeah, as time went on, right, when he started doing Souls content, started doing challenge runs and whatever, years later, he would basically just get a lot of support from other Souls creators, and eventually that sort of catapulted him towards Twitch partner, right? Um, so, I look at this streamer's entire journey, right? And I think to myself, I'm like, okay, I might potentially try something similar to that, right? And so basically, what I'm looking to do, right? My kind of current plan of action that I'm attempting to kind of like experiment with and test out is right now on Twitch, I have kind of decided to shift my content as well. And, in the past on Twitch, I would basically just go live and stream a lot of gacha games, right? I would stream Genshin, I would stream Wuthering Waves, I would sometimes stream Nikke, right? Which I really, really love that game. But, I feel like streaming those games, I have not really been able to find a lot of viewers who are willing to come by and watch, right? I haven't really found a lot of success with those particular games, with those particular streams, right? So basically, what I'm doing right now is on Twitch, I am currently playing a brand new game that I've never ever played before, which is called Lies of P, right? And Lies of P is a Souls-like game. It was created by a different company that I previously was not aware of. I think the name of the company is NeoWiz, and they created a game that takes a lot of inspiration from Dark Souls and from other Souls games, right? So this game, Lies of P, very, very well known, very famous, very popular game that, a lot of people who enjoy Souls games, they have praised Lies of P. They've said a lot of very good positive things about the game. So I'm currently on Twitch doing my kind of very first blind playthrough of the game. Stream by stream, I play it little by little every time that I go live. And I believe that most recently, I think I did maybe my seventh, or it might have been I think it was my seventh live stream playing Lies of P, right? And what I decided to do is that when I started playing Lies of P and I did my very first live stream, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play Lies of P, and I want to try and do a playthrough series of this game where it is kind of uninterrupted, right? And I decided, I was like, I do not want to, play Lies of P, and then let's say like the next time that I go live and stream, I go ahead and like swap over to Genshin and Wuthering Waves and whatever, right? Like I didn't want to flip flop between different games and whatever. I didn't want to change the stream so that one day I play Lies of P, the next day I play Genshin and Wuthering Waves and whatever, right? I just thought that it was not really a very smart idea to sort of interrupt my Lies of P playthrough. And so my goal right now with Lies of P is to stream Lies of P every single, time that I go live on Twitch. I stream Lies of P and I do my playthrough, stream number 1, number 2, number 3, so on and so forth, right? And yeah, so as I mentioned, I think I've done 7 live streams so far of Lies of P. And during that time of doing 7 live streams, I have not streamed Genshin or any other random game other than Lies of P on Twitch, right? So I wanted to kind of like keep it that way, and I wanted to make sure that I don't interrupt that sort of journey that I'm currently doing on Twitch. And that is basically the biggest reason why I am deciding to stream Genshin and or Wuthering Waves on my YouTube channel. It's so that I can like keep the two things kind of separated and keep them, organized, right? Um, so I was like, I want to play Genshin. I want to do the Genshin story quest, and the same thing with Wuthering Waves. I want to do the Wuthering Waves story quest, but I don't want to have those, streams have those quests interrupt my Lies of P playthrough on Twitch, right? Um, so yeah. There's that. And then, basically what I've decided just like overall for my Twitch channel, right? As a whole, I've decided that on Twitch, I am going to basically step away from playing a lot of gacha games and I'm going to focus more on basically Souls games, Souls like games, and variety games, right? To be completely honest, I have a crap ton of games that are currently in my Steam library right now. I purchased them and I have them available to play in my Steam library. I have a lot of games in my Steam library that I have never, ever, ever played before, and that I need to experience it for the very first time. So, moving forward, my my new objective, right? My new goal on Twitch is to only, play Souls games, Souls-like games, or variety games because, I just came to this realization that on Twitch, streaming gacha games is not really a successful strategy, right? It's not really the best idea and the most I guess, effective way to gather like an audience and gather viewers on that platform, right? Um, yeah, and then basically I'm just gonna kind of like overall see where this journey takes me, right? I'm gonna see like how successful can I be on Twitch by streaming these other different categories, these other different games, and, obviously, if I find more success playing those other games that are not Genshin or Wuthering Waves and whatever, then I'm gonna stick with it, right? I'm not going to go back to gotcha games on Twitch. And I'll just like, I'll play Genshin, I'll play Wuthering Waves offline, I'll play it on YouTube. But yeah, on Twitch, I'll probably refrain from doing so. Yeah. But anyways, I think that about does it. I think that about kind of like explains everything about today's live stream and whatnot. And yeah. What's going on, Icy Hot? Welcome on in. Do you have top 1% builds? I do not. I do not, Icy Hot. The way that I play Genshin is like, I build my characters to the best of my ability, right? And, I have these sort of like, how do I explain it? I have these sort of quote unquote guidelines, right? Where it's like, okay, I know what makes a character good. I know basically what is the bare minimum that I need in order for a character to be useful in combat, right? Whether it's like Spiral Abyss, whether it's limited event content, whether it's Imaginarium Theater, I know the general idea of how to build a character, and I try my very best to build a character. And once I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I could, you know, I could, continue farming for a character and I could continue trying to perfect them. Um, Even though that is the case, even though that is, a possibility, I don't usually ever take that because here's the thing, right? I know that some people out there, they look at certain, you know, certain, I guess, like I don't even know what is like the correct technical term to refer to this as, right? But they look at things such as the Akasha website or the Enka network or whatever, right? And they look at these so-called leaderboards where people submit their characters and they submit their builds for their characters, and then they kind of get like a sort of rating on how good their character is built, right? Some people out there, they look at things like Akasha or Enka or whatever. They look at these leaderboards and they're like, I want to do that. I want to have my name on this like leaderboard or on this website, right? Some people out there they find that to be, you know, very gratifying. They find that to be something where if they are able to get their name on a website or on a leaderboard, that makes them happy, you know? For me personally, that has never ever ever been something that I care about because, seeing my username on a website or a leaderboard, it honestly does not really do anything positive for me, right? It doesn't really make me happy. It doesn't really, you know, give my life purpose or anything like that, right? All of the website stuff, all of the leaderboard stuff, it is very, what's the word I'm looking for? I think to me it's very very superficial. It basically is irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything, right? Because yeah, just the fact that you have your name on a leaderboard or on a website, that does not mean that you are, the best Genshin player or the best Honkai Star Rail player or the best Zenless Zone Zero player or the best any gotcha game player. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it those yeah, those like rankings or whatever, they don't really mean anything at all. It's kind of just a way for some players out there to boost their own ego and to make themselves feel good about themselves, and to make themselves feel like they have value, when in reality those rankings don't really matter at all, that's why I've never ever ever really cared about that stuff. I find it all to be just a complete major waste of time. I mean, if that's what you want to chase after, if that's what you want to spend your time on, then, all the power to you. Like, go for it, right? But I think that honestly, when a lot of these people, a lot of these Genshin players, there's quite a lot of them who are young. They are people who are like 18 years old or younger, right? Um, a lot of these Genshin players, I feel like when they grow older, when they're like in their 40s and their 50s, maybe their 60s, right? They will look back at their time playing Genshin Impact and they will think to themselves, wow, I wasted so much time playing this, children's video game, trying to get onto a leaderboard, trying to get onto a website when that shit doesn't matter. It didn't make me famous, it didn't make me rich. I'm still just a nobody in the world who plays video games. That's it, right? Um, yeah, yeah. It doesn't really bring you a lot of stuff in life, if you achieve that type of stuff. So it's like, at least to me, I look at it and I think, what's the point, right? I don't want to spend my time doing something like leaderboards and rankings, um, whenever in the future I would look back on my younger self and be like, wow, I regret wasting all that time, you know? Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, chat. That is kind of like, what I said before about the whole Twitch stuff, about the gotcha game stuff. That is kind of like sort of an introduction to today's stream and kind of just talking about what I've been up to recently and what I've been thinking about recently. There's a lot more stuff that I could talk about in terms of like, my, I guess, like details about my life during the past month or couple of months or whatever, but I don't really want to like, go into too much detail and talk about all that stuff. Like it's kind of irrelevant at the end of the day. Um, as long as you guys know that I'm alive, I'm surviving, and I haven't just fallen off a cliff and disappeared off the face of the earth, right? That's I think what's important. But yeah, we are gonna be basically for today's stream. I think that we are going to be focusing on completing the yeah, the story quest for version 5.5, right? The what is this one? Ardent Land of Plenty. Mushroom Realm Mystery Act 1, right? So we're going to be going through this quest line and experiencing what version 5.5 has to offer for us in Genshin. Um, One last thing that I will briefly mention and talk about because it is, kind of relevant, kind of important. Um, Basically, so I was thinking about this idea today where I was like, oh, maybe I can like stream Wuthering Waves and I can play like the Wuthering Waves version 2.2 quest. And I can do that like after Genshin, for example. Um, I don't think that I will be doing that today. I think that I might just stick to Genshin, and there's a couple of reasons, right? Reason number one is that right now, in my local time zone, it is currently 9 p.m. at night, and I have a feeling that the Genshin quest is probably going to take me a couple of hours to complete, right? So by the time that I complete the Genshin quest, it'll likely be, I would say, probably 11 p.m. or midnight, or maybe even past midnight, right? And I don't really want to like start another quest at such a late hour of the night, especially if tomorrow on Thursday, especially if I'm gonna be, you know, doing things, if I'm gonna be busy, right? Um, Another reason why I very likely won't be playing Wuthering Waves on stream today is, basically, I think this happened about 2 weeks ago. I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. It might have been longer, it might have been shorter. But with the recent release of version 2.2 of Wuthering Waves, I actually had to make a tough decision where I took Wuthering Waves and I basically moved the game, right? So what I mean by that is on my computer, right? So I have my PC. I have both Wuthering Waves and I also have Genshin Impact installed, right? Um, in the past, previously, both Genshin and Wuthering Waves, they were installed on my SSD, right? Which is completely separate from my hard drive, my computer's hard drive. And the SSD, it basically allows um, applications. It allows programs to be run a lot faster and a lot more, smoothly compared to the hard drive, right? Um, if you basically were not aware of this, a lot of the time, if you are using a computer, if you're using a PC, it is highly recommended that you install video games on the SSD rather than the hard drive because the SSD will be able to um, basically give the game the ability to like run at maximum performance and maximum quality, right? So it's just a lot better of a gameplay experience to play games that are installed on the SSD rather than the HD. Um, so I had both Genshin and Wuthering Waves installed on my SSD. The major problem is that both of these two games, Genshin and Wuthering Waves, are very, very big games. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure both of these games are at least 100 gigabytes of space. Wuthering Waves might be a little bit lower. It might be like 80 gigabytes or 70 gigabytes or whatever, but I think it's getting up there. I think it's slowly becoming more and more you know, more and more demanding in terms of space, right? And so, with both of these games being installed on my SSD, I found that I was kind of running out of space. I was not really able to install a lot of other applications or programs on my SSD due to the file size of Genshin and Wuthering Waves. And so I was like, okay, what do I want to do about that? And I made a decision where I decided to move Wuthering Waves from my SSD onto my hard drive, right? And there's a couple of reasons why I did this. Reason number one is just because when I look at Genshin, when I look at Wuthering Waves, I enjoy both games, right? But the thing is that I I really like Genshin more than Wuthering Waves because I've spent more time playing Genshin, and I think that overall, the way that the world is designed of Genshin, I appreciate it more. I like it more, right? Um, and so I don't really have as strong of a connection to Wuthering Waves compared to Genshin. And I thought to myself, well, let's say that I decided to one day quit one of these two games if I had to, right? Which one would I choose? I would very likely choose to quit Wuthering Waves before Genshin. So I was like, okay, let me move Wuthering Waves over to my hard drive so that I can free up some space on my SSD, and I'm not running out of storage, and I'm not burdening my SSD and my PC by putting everything in one location, right? So I did that. I moved Wuthering Waves over to my hard drive, and I was able to, download the recent update for Wuthering Waves and play version 2.2. Now, a very, very unfortunate, a very, you know, frustrating and just like really stupid side effect of moving Wuthering Waves over to my hard drive is that unfortunately the game actually runs um, a lot more suboptimally than it did before. Basically, when I had Wuthering Waves on my SSD, I would load up the game, I would log into the game, and everything in the game would run very, very smoothly. There would be no problems, there would be no lag, there would be no buffering, there would be no, technical obstacles or anything like that, right? However, after I moved Wuthering over to my hard drive, I started noticing some severe technical differences. For example, the loading screen for the game, uh, you know, before when it was on my SSD, it would take me like a couple of seconds for the loading screen to, you know, disappear and for me to load into whatever the new area is or whatever. Um, However, now on my hard drive, it takes like maybe 1 to 2 minutes minimum for me to go through the loading screen. And then, I've noticed that so when I load up the game, right? And when I uh go and decide to teleport to another area, right? If I teleport in the game, um what will happen is my character will teleport into the area, and then after like a couple of minutes, the area that I teleport into, all of the different assets will start loading. So it'll be like my character teleports in and my character is standing on the ground, and then like the world around my character starts to basically come into position and form, and the visuals appear, right? So it definitely 100,000% is a major difference between hard drive and SSD. I think that honestly, the experience of playing Wuthering Waves on my hard drive, it is very, very, very suboptimal. It's very inefficient, and it's not at all a very enjoyable experience, right? But I kind of have to do it just for storage purposes, you know. And so, one of the reasons why I'm not too motivated to play the Wuthering Waves quest today on stream is because I know for a fact that when I load up the game, it's going to run quite slowly. It's not going to be very smooth and very, clean whenever I play the game on stream. There will very likely be quite a lot of like lag and buffering, and it'll just like look very, very like, you know, mediocre quality overall, which I'm not too particularly happy about, but it is what it is, right? This is why, like, a lot of the time, I kind of just play Wuthering Waves offline, and I log in, I do, like, my dailies, and then I log out, as long as there's no, limited event content that I need to complete for the rewards before it disappears, right? Um, yeah. But anyways, I think that explains everything. I think that goes over all the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Um, Let me actually see here. So we have that quest. We have a bunch of like other side quest stuff. Okay. Let me see here. So this is obviously the 5.5 quest. We have brand new regions for exploration. Okay, let's see. We have the test run. We have a new enemy. Okay, and then Imaginarium Theater. I don't really care about this. Not right now. And we have the test run as well for Veressa, which I definitely want to do. Because I've never actually like tried her character and gotten an idea of how she feels to play in the game. But yeah. And then this one right here. So is this one like... Oh, okay. So this one right here seems to be maybe some kind of like a limited event, if I'm not mistaken. And then this one right here is the Veressa. It's like the story quest, if I'm not mistaken. It seems like it, yeah. Okay. All right. Very cool stuff. Awesome. Chat, what I'm gonna do very, very quickly is I'm going to step outside of my room and I'm gonna see, because I got, notified by my family that it seems like they made some dinner finally. I can't believe that they made dinner at like fucking 8:30 p.m. I thought that they were gonna make it earlier. But yeah, they made some dinner. So I'm gonna step out and I'm gonna see if there's any food available for me to eat. And if there is, I will return and, probably bring some food with me if I cannot scarf it down quickly. And then, yeah, we can dive on into the, what's it called? The Veressa, 5.5 story quest. And then, maybe during the quest I can quietly snack on some food in the background. But yeah. So, give me a very quick second. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do where is it? I'm gonna do that. And then what happens if I do this? Oh my god, why is that so tiny? What the heck? This is minuscule. Hold on. Transform. Yeah, what the hell? This is friggin' puny, chat. Let's do, and then what if I do something like that, maybe? That might work. Let's see. I don't know why, but for some reason, the, yeah, that's kind of weird. The text, it looks very, 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 like, blurry and very, weird. What's going on, Stellar82? How's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? It has been a while. I've been doing good. I've been doing good. Not too bad at all. Hope you've been chilling and enjoying life. But yeah. Let me see here. Let me try removing this one. And then what if I re-add it? Let's see. Let's go to media, maybe? Like, is it this one? Add source. Add source. And then something like that. But then, let's see, font size 36. I could up the font size. Wow, that is massive. So what if I did that? There we go. That's freaking massive, holy moly. Could do 144, I suppose. That would work. And then, hmm. Take this thing, I can put it here, but I need to... Properties. I need to put on a background behind it. Something like that. Bathroom break, be back in a minute. Or actually what I'll do is instead of putting something like bathroom break, I'll just put quick break, be back in a minute. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That works. That'll be okay. Okay. Sweet. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the chat. Yeah, so I'm gonna be grabbing some food real quick. I will BRB, and I'll leave you guys on this, leave you guys on the event screen for a minute. But yeah, I will return in a short while, in like a 2 minutes or so, something like that. Yeah. Alright, chat. What's up, what's up? I have returned. Give me a second. I need to get myself situated again. Yeah, I got some food here. Basically, man, my family, I think they like bought a crap ton of groceries and they're like cooking a shit ton of food that can feed like a goddamn party of 20 people. Um I don't know why they, bought so much food and then like they did not store the food and freeze it or anything like that. Um, but yeah, basically like they have I think two pans on the stove right now that's like cooking some meat or something. I'm back. But yeah, I got some food here. I'll show it to you guys. Basically, I got some rice with this is like ground beef, and then on the side we've got some vegetables. I think it's if I'm not mistaken, I think it might be bok choy, or it might be something similar. It's like a Chinese kind of Chinese green vegetable, right? But yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it might be. Yeah. Sometimes my father, right? My father does a lot of cooking because he thinks that he's pretty good at making delicious meals and whatnot. Which I think that like a lot of the time he can cook some good food, but sometimes what my father does, which I'm not really a big fan of it, is my father he will occasionally, cook like meat or cook vegetables or whatever, and he will add in like one ingredient that I really, really don't like. For example, you know, my father has this he has this like love for a particular vegetable. Um and I think I remember the name of the vegetable. I could be wrong. It might be a different vegetable altogether, but I know for a fact that my father has a love for a vegetable called bitter melon, and I personally hate the taste of bitter melon. I think it tastes absolutely like just terrible, absolutely horrendous. And every time that I, eat any of this vegetable, I immediately just like want to, spit it out of my mouth because it tastes the worst thing ever. But what will happen is like, my father will cook some of this like vegetable, and sometimes he will mix the vegetable with meat or with something else, and then other times what he does, which I really don't like when he does this, is he will cook the vegetable and then he'll like put the vegetable on like a plate or a bowl, but he will take the sort of like the sauce, quote unquote, the liquid or whatever that was made from the vegetable. Like when you cook the vegetable, the moisture kind of gets, steamed out of it or whatever. And he'll take that sort of like yeah, vegetable residue or whatever it is, and he will like mix it together with some of the other food that he serves for dinner. And I really hate when he does that because you're not really expecting to taste it, and then when you do, it kind of like ruins the meat or the vegetables that you are eating. So I'm not really like a big fan of that at all. But yeah, thankfully, with this meal that I have here in front of me, with the rice, the ground beef, and the vegetables, it does not have that horrible taste. So I'm very very grateful for that. All right, chat. Let's officially dive on in. Let's go ahead and start this quest line for version 5.5. Um, I do want to say before we start up the yeah, before we start up the quest line. So I remember, if you guys take a look here at my map, I've unlocked several of the different teleport waypoints in the new area. I remember when I was like walking around this area, I accidentally walked over here to this location where the teleport waypoint is, and unfortunately, I got caught in a cutscene that I could not skip. I could not get out of it. And what actually happened is I ran into Varessa and I started talking to Varessa's character. And when it happened, I remember that I closed the game. Like I clicked the Alt F4 buttons to immediately exit out of the game, right? However, unfortunately, when I reloaded the game again and I logged back in, it immediately started playing the cutscene as I entered into the game. So it was like something that I could not, pull myself out of, which was really, really unfortunate, really annoying. That is one thing that I really dislike about Genshin, is that when you're like running around the open world, you can accidentally encounter these random cutscenes from different quests that you don't want to play just yet. You're kind of waiting and you're trying to plan out the time that you want to do the quest, and then all of a sudden you're running around and you accidentally trigger one of the cutscenes, and it's a pain in the ass. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, so technically speaking, I think that we have already said hello to Varessa and we've spoken to her. So I think this might be potentially the second cutscene of the version 5.5 quest that we're going to be seeing here. In any case, let's say hello to Varessa here. Alright, so we gotta follow her wherever she's running. Sure, why not? Shut up, Paimon. Oh, is this rock not breakable? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you just have to hit it at like a very particular angle. There we go. Okay. There we go. Alright, let me grab that chest. We're not leaving out here without our free Primo gems, you know? Alright, lead the way, Varessa. Let's keep going. I will say, I do like the mechanic of this new, Saurian. Ow. Well, I'll take it. Get some free ore. Why not? Varessa's voice actress in Japanese is very cute. Yeah, Paimon's kind of useless. Paimon just, floats in the air. That's it.
そういうわけじゃないよ。あれは北条の国でも珍しい光景なんだ。見たくてもなかなかお目にかかれないものだから安心して。
おお、そうなのか。オイラたち運はいい方だもんな。
Okay. There is another teleporter that way. We could probably go there, I think, without, getting caught in a cutscene. Wait. Give me my Logiston back. Oh, so close. Come on. I believe in you. There we go. Gotta jump it at the very end. Alright, so we've unlocked all these. This underground area I don't think we can get to just yet. Maybe it's later on in the story, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll see. We are speed, chat. Alright, we made it. Safe and sound, chat. Safe and sound.
ここが北条の国の集落で私のお家だよ。
おー、いいとこ
だな。あれはエコーアリーナって言うんだ。私たちがいろんな大会を開催してる場所なんだよ。
Thanks for bringing us here, Varessa.
どういたしまして。これくらい朝飯前だよ。ゆっくりここを案内してあげたいところだけど、実は一回お家に帰らないといけないんだ。
何か大事な用事でも思い出したのか？さっきヒルチャールが
全然大丈夫だよ。時間にも余裕あったし。でもこれは私にとってすごく重要なことなんだ。トレーニング後の一番大切なこと、それはご飯を食べることだよ。お腹が空いたら力が出なくなるし、めまいもしちゃう。それから頭がフラフラして、
she looks adorable,
考えるし、体に悪いことだらけでしょ。だから絶対に気をつけないとダメなんだよ。
This is a very adorable face right here. I also really like the face that she made where she was all confused, the dizzy eyes.
ほんとごめんね。どうしても私、今すぐご飯を食べなきゃ。君たちも早くご飯を食べてね。それじゃあ、後でまたエコーアリーナで会おう。バイバーイ。
バイバイ。
バレさんのなんていうか不思議。これ以上シッパレさんもあんなに高いところなら。
Shut up, Paimon. Alright, Act 1 complete. I wonder how many acts there are. Maybe there's like 6 or 7 of them. Alright, let me grab this thing here before we dive on into the quest. There we go. Hello, Varessa. How goes it?
あれもう来てた。
お家に帰ってお腹いっぱい食べてきたよ。うちのお父さん料理上手なんだ。お肉にしろ野菜にしろどんな料理を作ってもすっごく美味しいの。
元気がみなぎってるわけはおな。
そうだよ。本当は赤トロおじさんも誘ってくるつもりだったんだけど、お家にいなかったから案内役は私一人でもいいかな。おじさんはここの族長さんで北条の国を紹介するなら適任だと思ったんだけど、どの順路で案内するのがいいか正直私じゃわからないんだよね。思いついた場所をそのまま紹介する感じになるけど大丈夫？
もち
それならよかった。じゃあまずはあっちに行こっか。
My god, Varessa traveled a long way, chat. I thought the objective was gonna be nearby. It's like 200 meters away. Jesus.
「あそこが私のお家だよ。ほら、前は果物屋になってて、後ろは私たち家族が住んでるところ。
家の前で果物屋を。
そうなんだ。うちにはすっごく広い果樹園があるんだよ。ここは集落の入り口にすごく近いから、朝になるといつも外から足音とか車の音とかが聞こえてくるの。お父さんとお母さんもその時間になるとバタバタし始めて、そろそろ起きる時間だってわかるんだ。
それで一緒に果樹。
それは頭では起きなきゃってわかってるんだけど、体の方が準備できてるかどうかはまた別の話で、だいたい布団の下に頭を潜らせてそのまま寝ちゃうんだ。
You're just like me, for real, for real.
わかる。それに出発するときはこいつ冗談だってちょっと
たまにはのんびり遅くまで寝るのも悪くないよね。私はいつも目が覚めたらまずお父さんとお母さんの部屋を片付けてトレーニングに出かけるんだ。終わったらお家に帰ってご飯を食べるってのが日課なんだよ。それでご飯を食べ終わったらお父さんとお母さんは出荷しに行くの。その間は私が果樹園で働くんだ。
That should be about now, right?
じゃあ果樹園に。
いいよ。後で案内してあげるね。今は 私についてきて。こっちだよ。
Continue forward along the pathway. Alright. Seems like we're going down there. Maybe. Unless, of course, the minimap is debating me, and we're actually going somewhere completely different. Oh, hello there, Ian-san. How goes it?
あれ、イアンサコーチだ。これからトレーニングですか？
いや、今日はちょうど時間があるから庭の器具をメンテナンスしようと思ってな。よく来てくれたな、二人とも。ようこそ北条の国へ。見てくれ、この前競技場でこれを買ったんだ。あ、それって前に見たあの落書き。今じゃ手に入れるのが難しくなっててな。ずっと並んでようやく買えたんだ。
私もこの落書きを描いた服を持ってるよ。ベッドの横にかけてあるの。へへへ。
How embarrassing.
人気があるのはいいことだぞ。これもあんたが活躍した証だ。そうだ、二人ともここでの予定はもう決まってるか？オイラたちこの後来る途中でバレサに会ったんだ。すごく親切に道案内してくれて、ここについてもいろいろ教えてくれたんだぜ。
気にしないで。当たり前のことをしただけだから。
ここ数日のトレーニングは計画通り行ってるか？バレサ、怠けてないよな。
はい、すべてできました。今日のランニング3往復も完了してます。
よし、いい感じだな。これからも計画に沿って進めてくぞ。食事に関しては今のところまだ制限する必要はないな。ここにある器具は好きに使ってくれて構わないが、筋力トレーニングをするときはくれぐれも気をつけてくれ。できれば誰かに補助してもらった方がいい。
了解です。心得てます。
そういえば体を話せば長くなるんだが、なんというかバレサは教え子たちの中でも珍しい天才タイプなんだ。彼女が私とトレーニングし始めた頃は他の人たちと同じようにメニューを組んで、彼女の父親にはバレサ専用の食事メニューも書いてあった。
それでね、お腹が空きすぎて目がチカチカして指導を受ける気力も残らなくなっちゃったんだ。
すまない。私が組んだのは標準的な食事量だったんだが、どうやらバレサの消費量には全然追いついてなかったみたいだ。私はバレサの過去の食習慣をよく研究した。そうして今の彼女専用メニューが徐々に完成したんだ。
うんうん。コーチってすごく丁寧で、コーチングしてもらえると毎日ちょっとずつ成長できてる気がするんだ。それでね、指導やトレーニングがどんどん好きになっていったんだよね。
今いる教え子たちの中で一番パフォーマンスが高いのはバレサなんだ。トレーニングでかける負荷の大きさだけで言えば、私でももうバレサの域には届かない。コーチ驚くことはないさ。これは筋力トレーニングの世界ではよくあることなんだ。才能はすごく重要なものだからな。おお、すごいな。全然そんな風には見えなかったぞ。私は大げさに言ってるわけじゃないぞ。バレサの実力はかなり頼りになるんだ。けどもう少し自信を持ってくれたらいいんだがな。
コーチが丁寧に教えてくれたおかげですよ。へへへ。私自身はそんなに苦労してないと思いますよ。
Just further proves that you're a natural, Varessa.
違うよ。トレーニング器具とか魔物が相手なら全力を出せるってだけ。そっちの方が気が楽だからね。でも誰かと戦うってなると点でダメ。相手を怪我させちゃうかもって怖くなるの。そうなのか。じゃあ 団体戦なんて勝てたことないし、ましてや順位なんて言うまでもないよ。競ったり奪い合ったりするのが苦手なんだ。
力の真髄の一つはコントロールすることにある。ここにあるバーベルを使って例えよう。バーベルは持ち上げる時だけじゃなく下ろす時にも力が必要なんだ。本当に力のある人ならその強弱を自在にコントロールできる。つまりただ力強くなるだけじゃなくて、力をつけた後どう使うか考えることが肝心なんだ。
頭では分かってるんです。トレーニングの時はいつもそうしてたし、問題なんて起きたことありませんでした。なのにいざ誰かと戦うとなると、なんだか自分のことを信じきれなくなっちゃうんです。
Well, that's a little bit strange because, I mean, when you're fighting other people, right, normally you're in an environment where you kind of want to or you have to fight. So it's like the fact that she's doubting herself, not really a good sign. I mean, obviously, if you're in a situation where like you don't want to fight another person or you don't need to, right, then doubting yourself is fine. That makes sense. But if you're like, let's say that you're partaking in a competition or you're, fighting in a war or something and you need to fight against other people, can't really be doubting yourself at that point. Otherwise, you'll get defeated, right? So, yeah.
ありがとう。もっと頑張ってトレーニングすればきっと克服できるよね。じゃあコーチ、私たちはこれで失礼しますね。二人を果樹園に案内してきます。
ああ、北条の国を楽しんでくれ。
留守番ありがとね、ワナナ。こっちおいで。あれ、また前よりムキムキになった？ちょっと筋肉を見ただけだって。力比べはしないよ。勝負はまた今度ね。この子はワナナっていうの。普段果樹園に人がいないとき、ここを見張ってくれてるんだよ。すっごく頼りになるし、人懐っこいおちびちゃんなんだ。おちびちゃん？さあ、どうぞ入って。ここがうちの果樹園だよ。
So Banana is like a guard dog of sorts.
あっちもこっちも果物でいっぱいだ。へへへ。ここが北条の国って言われるのは、火山が近くて土地が肥沃だからっていうのもあるんだ。ここでは何を植えても美味しく育つの。ここの果物はすごく人気があるんだよ。外で売るためだけじゃなくて、自分たちが食べる分や親戚とか友達にあげる分までたくさん取っておくんだ。なるほどな。せっかくここまで来たことだし、果物を取って食べてこっか。果物は食後のデザート。ご飯とは別腹だかんね。4、50個くらいなら食べても平気だよ。
Don't worry, just a few dozen, chat. We can eat a few dozen.
私がちっちゃい頃からね、お父さんはうちの前で果物屋をやってたんだ。お父さんの服をちょいちょいって引っ張ると、いつも果物を1個くれたの。私、食べるのがすっごく早くて、飲み込むとすぐにまた1個って繰り返してたら、その食べっぷりを見に来る人がどんどん増えて、 人だかりができたんだ。
Chat, this is adorable. This is way too cute. Look at this thing.
それでね、お父さんの話によると、私があまりにも美味しそうに食べるから果物を買いに来る人まで増えたんだって。お父さんの役に立てたのがすっごく嬉しくて、もっともっとたくさん食べるようになっちゃったの。しかも果物を買ったお客さんが私の頭を撫でて、こんなによく食べる子は将来きっと大きくなるよって褒めてくれたんだ。私はただぼーっと周りの人が喋ってるのを見てただけなんだけど、しばらくするとお父さんもつられて笑い出して、手伝いに来てくれたお母さんも一緒に笑って。すごくでもね、みんながうちの果物を買ってくれるのは本当に美味しいからなんだよ。自慢ってわけじゃないけど、一度食べてみればわかるから。そうそう、ちょうど数日後に熱湯の宴が開催されるの。そのデザートにうちの果物をたくさん提供してるんだ。熱湯の宴？うん、大食い大会みたいなイベントだよ。すっごいたくさん食材を用意しなきゃいけないんだ。だから気にせずいっぱいもいちゃって。私も一緒にやるよ。無駄にはならないから大丈夫。よし。あれ？なんであんなところにキノコがあるんだ？おお、あのキノコはね、果樹園を作った時にいつの間にか生えてきたの。水やりも肥料もなしにぐんぐん育つんだ。肉厚でジューシーでとっても美味しいんだよ。炒めたり揚げたりするだけじゃなくて、生で食べても美味しくってね、果物みたいな味がするんだ。果物の味がするキノコ？そんなの聞いたことないぞ。
Maybe it absorbed nutrients from the nearby fruit trees. That could be a possibility.
多分そうだと思う。果物みたいな味がするんだったら、それはもう果物ってことだよね。見た目なんて気にしない気にしない。さあさあ、好きなだけもいで。キノコも一緒にちょこっと取って後で料理して食べよ
う。58 fruits and vegetables. Alright, sure. Why not? I have 12 so far. $34 so far. Alright. 37. What else are we missing? I see some sparkly stuff over here. Okay. We have 45 right now. Come on. There we go. Apple. Apple. What else? Come on, say lolly. There we go. $54. $57. There we go.
わあ、こんなにいっぱい。すごいね。熱湯の宴、さっき食べてみ。あと ノコ。よし、こいつはトロピカルキノコって名前にしようぜ。たまにはって助かるよ。ありがとね。じゃあ私もサクッと取り掛かろうかな。さっき言った通りキノコ料理を作るからちょっと待っててね。私料理の腕はそこまでだからあんま期待しないでね。でも素材が良ければちょっと手を加えるだけでとっても美味しくなるんだよ。いやいや、すっごくいい匂いがするぞ。生で食べるのとはまた違った味わいだ。気に入ってくれてよかったよ。このキノコって北条の国ですごく人気なんだけど、まだ他の場所ではあまり知られてないんだ。今回の熱湯の宴はこのキノコを宣伝するためでもあるんだよ。アトリエおじさんがいろいろと工夫して新メニューを作ったんだ。もし興味があったら参加してみてね。
What do you think, Paimon? Can you rise up to the challenge?
ね、大丈夫大丈夫。食べ物が無駄になることはないから心配いらないよ。もし食べきれなかったら私に言って手伝ってあげるから。それなら安心だな。そこはやってみないとわからないんじゃない？君も結構食べる方でしょ。それに勝ち負けなんて重要じゃないよ。北条の国のグルメを楽しむチャンスだと思ってさ。確かにその通りだ。よし、じゃ。
Nice. Act 2 complete, baby. Oh, wait, there's a, Oh, I see it. I see the Pyroculus. It's hiding there.
星々よ、空に帰りなさい。はあ、疲れた。
You know, chat, I didn't really mention this during during the beginning of the stream today, but I thought I'd talk about it a little bit, just because it's something that I am enjoying quite a bit. So, you know, I remember that recently I kind of met up with some IRL friends, and you know, we went to go grab some food together, had a great time, and both of my friends, they were telling me about this particular TV show that is really, really popular right now, really trending. And they were like, dude, you have to watch this show. And it's a show on Apple TV called Severance, right? I heard about this show. I heard a lot of good things about it. And the lead actor of the TV show is the same actor from a comedy TV show that I really, really enjoy called Parks and Recreation. I think the name of the actor is Adam Scott, and he is a really, 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 you know, good actor. So over like the last week, I would say, I've been watching episodes of Severance, and I recently finished season 1, and I've watched, I think, 3 or 4 episodes of season 2. So I'm getting closer and closer to finishing season 2, and I'm quite excited about it. So far the story is really, really good, and I'm enjoying it, but yeah.
あ、よく来てくれたな。
久しぶりだな。バレサからお前たちが熱湯の宴に参加するって聞いて驚いたぞ。どうやらバレサに手強いライバルが登場ってとこか。
二人と並べられるほど私そんなにすごくないよ。どうしたんだバレサ。お腹すいたんだ。何も食べてなくて。でも大会のためなら空腹にも耐えなきゃ。
もう少しの辛抱だバレサ。アトリーが今気合を入れて準備してる。 大会の開始まであと少しだ。
わかった。もうちょっと我慢するよ。
そうだ、ルール上熱湯の宴の参加者が挑戦に失敗した場合、普通に飯代を払ってもらうことになってる。だがお前たちが参加すると聞いてアトリーに相談させてもらった。お前たちの費用は全て免除だ。
いいのか？それってタダで食べれるってことだろ？よかったぞ。これで食べきれなくても
遠慮するな。お前たちがナタのためにしたことに比べればこんなもん取るに足らんさ。俺たちからの感謝の気持ちだと思ってくれ。アビスが攻めてきた時、北条の国に魔物はあまり現れなかったが、火山が急に活性化してな。トゥランの番人として俺たちは放っておくことができなかった。だからすぐに小隊を派遣して山頂に向かったんだ。バレサもその時の重要なメンバーだった。バレサ？
ああ、私ね、あの時チビリュービスケットをたくさん持ってたんだ。ってあれ？違う、そんなこと聞いてなかったね。山頂にはアビスの気流があってね、魔物を呼び寄せるだけじゃなくてマグマの動きを活性化させることもできたの。幸いエンジン様のおかげであれを壊せたんだ。
今考えてみると、それもアビスの計画だったんだろうな。北条の国の動きを抑えれば競技場周辺も支援を受けられなくなる。
確かにそうかもな。ところでさっき言ってた
それは北条の国が古くから受け継いできた使命だ。あの火山は俺たちにとってとても大事な存在でな。災いだけでなくチャンスももたらしてくれるのさ。肥沃な土地や豊かな生態系、これらは全て挑戦を乗り越えて初めて得られる恩恵だ。
ああ、それに挑戦っていうのもナタ人の気質にぴったり合ってる。火山に異常があった時、見張ってくれてる番人がいることですぐに競技場に報告できるんだ。
なるほど。やっぱりここ。あれ、バレサはどこ行ったんだ？
さっきふらっとここを離れてったぞ。てっきり誰かに呼ばれたのかと思ったけど。
キッチンに行ったんだろう。あっちからずっといい匂いがプンプンしてるからな。
ちょっと心配だし探しに行こうぜ。
なら私たちも一緒に行こう。
香ばしいステーキにトロトロのチーズ、ジューシーなキノコ、ごくり。
来ると思ってたよバレさ。部屋の中からでもすごい気迫を感じた。尋常ではない気迫がなもうすぐ出来上がるぞ。あと数分待っててくれ。それまでこれでも食ってるといい。
この香り、お肉を煮込んだスープ。アトリエおじさん、ありがとう。やっぱりここにいたのか。いなくなる前に一言言ってくれればよかったのに。あ、ごめん。さっきまで頭が真っ白になってたから。なんでかはわかんないんだけどね、気づいたらここに来ちゃってたんだよね。しかも手にはスープが
気にすんな。みんな事情は分かってるさ。
準備に時間がかかりすぎて開始が遅れてしまってすまない。かなりお腹が空いてるだろう。
大丈夫だよ。美味しいスープを飲んでだいぶ元気になったから。お腹がすくと何も考えられなくなっちゃって。 みんなの話もちゃんと聞きたかったんだけど。
ま、それも仕方ないさ。普段から運動量の多いバレサは体力の消耗も激しい。その分エネルギーがたくさん必要だ。あんたたちも似た経験があるだろ。何も食べずに運動するとすぐフラフラになって力が出なくなることが。
言われてみると確か。ところで熱湯の宴ってあとどのくらいで始まるのかな。もう待ちきれないよ。
ああ、確認してこよう。準備完了だ、アカトル。みんなを呼んできてくれ。大会を始められる。
おう。じゃあ俺たちは席について待ってよ。すぐにうまいもんが出てくるぞ。
やっとご飯の時間だ。
I really do hope that this next part, you know, instead of us having like this slideshow cutscene thing, I really hope that they actually have like a real animation. Yeah. Is there a special place I'm supposed to sit? Start competition. Let's do it.
言い忘れてたが、この熱湯の宴は2つの階級で分かれてるのさ。それがノーマル級とバレサ級だ。初めてのやつはノーマル級にしか参加できない。挑戦をクリアして初めてバレサ級に挑めるんだ。なんでバレサの名前がついてるかっていうと、この量をクリアできたのがバレサしかいないからだ。
こいつ。
そうだな。だが普通の人がバレサと同じ土俵で勝負したら優勝者は毎回彼女になってしまう。そんな大会に魅力なんてないだろ。バレサ級に最も近づいた人といえばエンジンマービカ様くらいだな。
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. I had a feeling that, you know, Mavuika would maybe be able to defeat Varesa. Maybe.
なあ、ノーマル級は楽勝だったんだが、いかんせんバレサ級は厳しい試練だったようだ。聞いたところによると、マービカ様が来たのは帰化聖夜の巡礼の前夜にバレサがいつもくたびれの家で何十人分もの料理を平らげる件について調査するためだったらしい。談義室のスタッフがその請求書を怪しんで、くたびれの家の計算ミスか請求内容を捏造したんじゃないかとまで疑ったそうだ。だがマービカ様がその場でバレサの食べっぷりを見て誤解は全て解けたのさ。
おお、それにマービカからするとオイラたちの目の前にあるこの量は。そうだな、始めようぜ。おお、絶妙。ハムハムハム。これ食べてみ。もしゃもしゃ。これもカップちょっと気になったんだけど、オイラたちずっと食べてるのに全然減ってなくないか。オイラもうダメだ。
Very adorable. What happened to defending your honor?
オイラの名誉は最後まで戦い抜くこと。今回は相手が強すぎた。オイラのために。
バレサが再びこの階級をクリア。皆さん盛大な拍手を。 今回は前回よりも 10% 増量していたので、バレサはまたも記録を更新したことになります。
God damn, that plate is huge.
よくやったぞバレサ。
すごいな、さすがだ。
ねえ、褒めすぎだって。アトリエおじさんの料理があまりにも美味しいおかげでいくらでもペロリといけちゃうよ。
本当に食べきっちゃったぞ。大丈夫？
何のこと？
お腹がパンパンで吐きそうとか。ほら、オイラなんかもう飛べる気しないぞ。
別に何にも。ただすっごく幸せな気分かな。やっとお腹いっぱいになれたよ。
Spoken like a true champion.
ありがとう。私の特技だからね。でもいっぱい食べられるのって大会に参加するとき以外はあんまり自慢できることじゃないんだ。私はアビスに勇敢に立ち向かえることの方が羨ましい。君たちやイアンサコーチみたいに。それこそが英雄だよ。
大げさだな。バレサはバレサで着実に進んでいけばいい。すごい才能があるんだから、きっとすぐに競技場でも頭角を現せるさ。
イアンサは食べきれたのか？
もちろん。ノーマル級なら私でも簡単にクリアできる。ただバレサ級となると話は別だな。何度か挑戦したことあるけどことごとく大敗した。
Yeah, I mean, you still did better than us.
大食いなのはもちろんとして、食べてるとだんだん肉が。
そういう時はあのキノコと一緒に食べるといいよ。ほら、前に果樹園で見たあのキノコ。私はね、料理がテーブルに出されたらまずそのキノコをちょっと脇に寄せるんだ。油に浸からないようにね。そうすればキノコは果物の香りを保てるし、ふにゃふにゃにもならないんだよ。
なるほど。キノコを使って脂っこさを紛らわせばいいのか。
うんうん、そういうこと。君たちもあのキノコのフルーティーな味は覚えてるよね。食べるとちょうどいい箸休めになるんだ。外から大会に参加しに来た人たちはあの変わったキノコをよく知らないからクリアできないんだろうね。
イアンサ、あっちに君を探してる参加者が大勢いるようだ。食べ終わったらトレーニングの時間だと言ってるとか。
まったく、こういう時は激しい運動をしたらダメだっていうのに。悪いけど私はそいつらを止めてくれ。
I actually think
今日の結果はどんな感じ？
だいたい半分くらいの人がノーマル級をクリアしたよ。ここ最近の大会では一番多いな。みんな経験値が溜まって慣れてきたのか、それとも俺の腕がどんどん上達してるのか、どっちかわかんないけどありがとう。熱を加えるとあのキノコは独特な香りを放つんだ。それが他の食材の旨味を引き出してくれるんだよ。ああ、そうだ。いい機会だから一つ忠告しておこう。特に君たちは旅をしてるからなおさらね。このキノコには素晴らしい効果がたくさんあるし、最高の食材であることには違いない。でも果樹園には普段俺たちが使う赤いキノコの他にたまに緑色のキノコが生えてくる。赤いキノコはどう調理しても構わないし、食べても売っても問題ないんだが、緑色のキノコを見つけたらすぐに食べないといけないんだ。
これは果樹園を開いたばかりの頃、あるスメールの学者が残した言葉なんだ。ただ誰も理由は知らないんだよね。だってこれまで一人もこの言いつけを破ったことないから。私も果樹園で緑のキノコを見つけたらすぐ取って食べるんだ。赤いキノコと全く同じ味がするんだよ。
なんだか急に怖い話みたいになってきたぞ。
don't you want to know the reason behind it?
ああ、もちろん誰もが気になってるさ。でも 好奇心は身を滅ぼしかねないだろ。そうだバルサ、今日うちの赤いキノコをほとんど使い切ってしまってね。悪いけど少し補充してきてくれないか。
はーい、もちろんだよ。早速行ってくるね。君たちはどうする？一緒に来る？
どうする？おいら腹ごなしにちょっと運動したい気も。お前も一緒に行きたいみたいだな。じゃあ行こうぜ。
気にしないでいいよ。次は完食目指して頑張ってくれな。
Okay, alright, alright. Let's see here. How the heck do we get over there?
お腹いっぱいになってやる気ももりもり湧いてきたよ。あれ、もしかしてまだ緑のキノコのこと考えてる？あんまり気にしなくていいよ。アトリーおじさんが面白おかしくしようとして大げさに話しただけだから。緑のキノコはたまにしか生えてないし、毎日私が果樹園に行って見つけ次第食べてるから大丈夫。なんならもっと生えてきてほしいくらいだよ。そしたらもっとたくさん食べられるのに。
あ、おい、緑のキノコってあれか？
ほら、色以外これといって変なところはないでしょ？ちょっと待っててね。今火を起こすから。早く焼いて食べちゃおう。
ああ、おいらの分はなしでいいぞ。
緑のキノコをすぐに食べなきゃいけない理由？実を言うと私も気になってるんだよね。あの学者さんは神妙な面持ちで一言残してっただけで詳しい理由までは話してくれなかったし。でもアトリーおじさんが言ってた好奇心は身を滅ぼしかねないっていうのもわかるんだ。下手すると大変なことが起きちゃうかもしれないでしょ。
だからってほっとく？
わかってるよ。でも私は北条の国が大好きでとっても大事な場所だと思ってるから今のままであってほしいんだ。真実も大事だけど私の勝手で周りの人を危険に巻き込むのはもっとダメだと思う。つまりやっぱり私心のどこかで怖がってるんだと思う。変化を選ぶことで私の手に負えない事態になっちゃうかもって。
If you're strong enough to uncover the truth, you're strong enough to command the truth. What an interesting comment there. I suppose that it does make some logical sense. Yeah.
収束？
If fear is the only thing stopping you, let us help you shoulder the burden.
その通り。すぐ食べるっていう言いつけを守りながら調査だってできるしな。
What you don't know can still hurt you.
わかった。君のその言葉で北条の国の英雄フィエテナ様を思い出したよ。まさに君のようにいつも勇気に満ち溢れてて挑戦と探求を決してやめない私の憧れなんだ。ちょっとだけ待っててね。3秒だけ。フィエテナ様、どうか私に勇気をください。 ちの言う通りだよ。最後に真実に向き合うべきなのは私だし、それから事態を収束させる力を持つべきなのも私。じゃあこれからどうすればいいのかな。君たちこういった経験が豊富なんだよね。
I think I should taste it first. Okay, interesting, interesting.
緑のキノコのこと？味は赤いキノコと同じで特徴はないんだけど。
こいつの体質。
そうなんだね。じゃあ今から作るよ。
どうだ、何か分かったか？
Nope.
オイラと同じだな。
やっとふさわしい謁見者が現れたようだ。面白い。
誰だ？
そう驚くでない。要はそこの金髪に興味があるだけだ。貴様らはそいつと親しげだったからおまけで世の声を聞かせてやっている。さて貴様らをこの時代の世の最初の臣民となることを許そう。
Cut to the chase, lady.
何を言う。世の正体を調べようとしていたであろう。その願いに応えてやっているというのに。
世の正体。あ、ズバリ君の正体はあの緑のキノコだね。
ほう、珍しく里いではないか小娘よ。いつものように臆病で愚鈍なままであったら世は貴様にみじんも興味を持たなかったぞ。
なんだよ、
もう一度言おう。好奇心に駆られたのは世ではない。故にへりくだる必要などないのだ。貴様らにはいくらか可能性があると感じてな。こうして機会を与えてやったまで。世はキノコの剣手なり。世に伝えることは千載一遇の機会にして至上の喜びであるぞ。
ブヒー。
どこがヘンテコだというのだ。世の名前にケチをつける前に貴様のセンスを疑え。このキノコの剣手は世間知らずの浮遊生物に付き合ってる暇などない。
なんか一瞬威厳のかけらもなかったような。
Yeah, yeah.
そここそ喋るな。なんだこの人間どもは。いつもであればとっくにひれ伏しているというのに。とにかくだ。どういうわけだか貴様らには世に対する尊敬と畏怖の念が欠落しているらしい。いきなり臣民とするのは時期尚早のようだ。仕方ない。キノコの剣士としての知識を見せてやろうではないか。貴様らが追い求めていた答えを世は全て持っているぞ。だが答えを得るには相応の誠意を見せるのが太古からの不分律。世を満足させられるか否かは貴様ら次第だ。
目の前にキノコが入っ。
それは世の分身であり最も忠実な臣民でもある。そしてその中に世の秘密を隠した。答えを求めるならその知恵を持って手がかりを集めた後再び世を呼ぶといい。その時世を信頼し崇拝していることを願おう。
声が聞こえなくなった。それになんかイラッとくるやつだったし。
けど今の本当だったのかな。キノコの剣手とか言ってたけど。
本当のところもあるだろうけど。
実在してないとああやって頭の中で話すこともできないもんね。
少なくとも今わかるのは
英雄譚の始まりって感じがするね。これから私たちは英雄みたいに真実をこの手で、 キノコの正体をこの手で掴みに行くんだね。なんだかあんまりかっこよくないけど。
そうだな。
かしゃくな口を慎め。
なんか誰か怒ってない？
盗み聞きしてたのかよ。
何も言わなくなったね。
とにかく手がかりは新
Okay, very interesting.
ここに赤いキノコがあるぞ。うわー、キノコになったぞ。なんで中にキノコ。
へえ、これが新民？かわいいね。
牛ガール、褒めてくれるなんていいやつの子。違ったの子。牛ガールは天敵。飛べられないよ。戦うの子。
気をつけろバレさん。こいつはスメールの魔物だ。見た目は可愛いけど襲ってくるぞ。
魔物なの？それなら仕方ないね。仲良くしたかったのに残念だな。
Well, surely violence is a form of wit, huh?
降参の子。食べ物は神聖。それ以外は無駄の子。あとは知らないの子。さよならの子。
普通のキノコに戻
食べ物は神聖がヒントってこと？
このキノコの話だけ。
Okay, interesting.
緑のキノコだ。あ、いや、ここは先手必勝だ。おい、食べ。
王がお伝えした通り、答えを知りたくば知恵を示してくださいの子。従って質問をしてよいのは私であり、あなた方ではありませんの子。
今度はまた饒舌なやつが出てきたな。
謎解き？あんまり得意じゃないのにな。簡単にしてもらえない？では簡単にしますの子。ってあなたの仲間でもないのにそんなことするわけありませんの子。こっふん、気を取り直しましょうの子。準備はよろしいですかの子。それでは問題ですの子。この果樹園のキノコが皆喜んでキノコの剣士の親民になりたがるのはなぜでしょうの子。
そんなの知るわけないぞ。
果樹園のキノコたちはみんなあの王の分身だから？そんなようなこと言ってたよね。はあ、察しが悪いですの子。そんな単純な答えなわけないでしょの子。
No way that's the answer. There is no way they went with a pun. Oh my god.
どうしてこうもすぐ答えが。寒いね
くっそ油断した。
ってことはスメールの人たちはみんな寒いダジャレが好きなの？もしかして暑いから？
いや、そういうわけじゃなく。
致し方ありませんの子。あなたたちが自らの知恵を示してくれたからには私も質問にお答えしましょうの子。食事という行為は生理的な欲求を満たすためのみならず神聖な儀式でもありますの子。私たちのようなキノコはキノコの犬種の媒介であり、私たちの肉体に火を通すことでキノコの原種と精神的な橋を架けられますの子。なるほど、さっき体験したやつだね。
つまりまた声を聞く。おい、逃げるな。また普通のキノコに。
この子たちにとって食事は儀式ってことは何か儀式のための道具や手順があるってことかな。
確かに なバレさん。もっと忘れるとこだった。
Okay, interesting. So essentially what we're doing, chat, is we are getting super high and talking to mushrooms, which apparently have the ability to speak.
あのキノコンたち、
あの人間たちに出す問題、もう考えたのか？もちろん。あまり賢そうには見えないし、適当に問題を出しておけば大丈夫な子よ。わあ、すごい。さすが王様みたいに緑の傘を持ってるだけあるのかな。うらやましいの子。すべて私の想定内の子よ。あいつらきっとこう言ってくるのか。儀式のやり方を教えてください。お願いしますの子って。この世にタダでもらえる答えなんてないの子よ。しょうがないから問題を選ばせてあげるのか。空にある星や月、それとも地の底につながる深淵、どっちが得意な子？難しすぎます。難しすぎて頭から胞子が吹き出ちゃいますの子。あいつらは人間の子よ。胞子なんて出ないの子。おバカさんなんだから。ああ、確かにの子。こんな簡単な問題にも答えられないなんて、私の問題に挑むなんて数十年早いの子よ。もう数十年勉強するのか。でもあのおバカさんたち、気づくまで本当に数十年かかっちゃうかもしれないの子ね。食事が儀式である以上、もちろんその手段も料理だっていうことに。料理だっていうことに。
全部口に出ちゃってるみたいだけど。
誰の子？そこにいるのは。
おバカおバカって、そっちの方がおバカさんだろ。
白いふわふわ。怖い。怖くて胞子が出ちゃうのか。
おいらのどこが怖いってんだよ。おい、無視して逃げるな。
Well, we already got what we needed. That's fine.
答えは手に入ったけど、全然達成感が知恵を持って手がかりをまあ気にしなくていいか。とりあえず料理を使ってキノコの剣士ともっと強い精神のつながりを築けばいいんだよな。
そうみたいだね。アトリエおじさんが確かこういうキノコは高温で調理するほど香ばしくなるって言ってた気がするし。
あ、お前がさっき調理した時もそうだったな。焼いてからすっごくいい匂いが
If we
漂
cook
って
them
きてた
just
ぞ。
right, maybe we'll be able to see the Sage Lord's true form. Surely.
それじゃあ早速やってみようぜ。
私は準備できてるけど、始める前にやっぱり赤トルおじさんや集落の人に一言言っておいた方がいいと思うんだ。
True.
そうだな。
Good point, good point. Alright, let's explain, shall we? We gotta talk about how, we got high from some mushrooms, and now we need to cook them the right way so that we can speak to the mushrooms. Yeah, trust me, it doesn't sound real.
おいらたちが調査してた時は気にしなかったけど。
なるほどな。果樹園のキノコたちにも意識があったとは。すごい発見じゃないか。
ああ、あんたたちが調査してくれてなかったらとんでもないことになってたかもしれない。
気づいてくれてありがとな。手がかりもこんなにたくさん集めてくれてよ。
よかった。 みんな信じてくれた。
まあ変な話ではあるがな。キノコと話すなんて誰もしたことがない。だがバレサが嘘をつくような子じゃないのはみんな知ってる。それに緑のキノコ自体俺たちも謎に思ってた。悪い兆しが見つかった以上調査を手伝うぜ。
何か力になれることがあったら遠慮なく言ってくれ。
こんなあっさり受け入れてもらえるなんて。
Thanks, everyone.
さっき高温でキノコを調理する必要があるって言ってたな。ちょっと待っててくれ。早速用意しよう。待たせたな。鉄板で焼いてみたぞ。この温度なら十分だろう。
わあ、やっぱ
じゃあいただきます。
Hopefully they don't burn their mouths when trying to eat the mushrooms.
ほうほう。
聞こえたか？あいつの声だ。
少しは分かってきたようだな。だがこの程度の温度で誠意は示せぬぞ。そこらの家で出せる火力とどこにでもある道具でささっと作っただけではないか。それでこのキノコの犬種に認めてもらえると？人間というのは実に情けない。手がかりを与えてやれば難問も解けるが、それがなくなった途端何もできない。こんな方法でうまくいくと思ったか？まさに愚の骨頂なり。もっと工夫することだ。
どうだ、声は聞こえたか？
うわ、いや、温度が足りないんだってよ。めんどくさいな、もう。
I think I figured it out, chat. I think I know the answer. Basically, the Sage Lord, right? He's gonna make us go to, like, the top of the volcano to try and cook the mushroom using the volcano's heat. I'm pretty sure that's the answer.
火力を上げるとなるともっと別の方法を探す必要があるな。みんな聞いたか？何でもいいからとにかく熱いもんを持ってきてくれ。
ああ、なんとかできないか考えてみよう。
任せてくれ。
私たちも探しに行こっか。
そうだな。でも
具体的には思いつかないけど、火山の近くを探してみるのはどうかな。火山はいつもいろんなものを吹き出してるから、何かいいものが混じってるかも。
よし、じゃあ行ってみよう。
Okay, look for the high temperature materials. Where the heck are we going? All the way over here? Thankfully, I grabbed the teleport waypoint, so we're able to get there, you know, quite fast.
ここはよく通る道なんだけど、休憩してる溶岩の像を見かけることがあるんだよね。すごい高温のコアを持ってるはずだから、それが使えると思うんだ。
みんなこんなに強力。
それに君たちのおかげだよ。今までキノコを食べた人は山ほどいたけど、お話できたのは初めてだったからね。
まあそうだよ。
だから今回はまたとないチャンスなの。それにあのキノコの剣士もなんだか偉そうな物言いで、みんな負けてられないって思ったんじゃないかな。
Competition seems to be a thing here.
だな。でも
そうだね。私争い事って好きじゃないし、勝ち負けをあんまり気にしないタイプだから、毎日楽しく過ごせるだけで十分なんだ。そんな
True.
私にイアンサコーチはいろんなことを教えてくれたの。力は目的じゃなく手段だとか、アビスが攻めてきた時、もし普段から鍛えてなかったら、元素力をコントロールできるようになってなかったら、ただ魔物が暴れるのを見てることしかできなかったと思う。どんなに怖くても勇気を出してみんなを守らなきゃって思ったんだ。
There's a certain strength deep within you.
ありがとう。どんどん勇敢になって私フィエトナ様みたいになるんだ。行こっか。歩きながら探そう。
Nice. Oh, sweet, we get to play as Oressa. That's Pog. Alright, give me a second, chat. I'm gonna reply to a quick text message here.
果物を育てるにはいろんなことを考えないといけないんだ。いい感じのタイミングで水やりと草むしりをしてあげて、鉱石の粉末で土に栄養を補給してあげて、おっはっはっ
Alright, let's go, Chad. Let's go.
ここは飛び越えられるね。
まずい、岩が転がってきたぞ。
溶岩の像の仕業みたいだね。倒しに行こう。
これを登るのか。
みんなは俺が守る。よし、出発だ。
Okay, nicely done.
よーし、解決。いい感じだね。ほら見て、中の年素も元気いっぱいだよ。
Pretty
ど
Pog.
れ？
これと同じものをあと何個か持って帰れば十分だと思う。もう少し登ろっか。
Alright, up we go, chat.
時間が。気をつけて。溶岩の像が3体もいるよ。
全力コン。
手加減なしよ。悪用の力を思い知りなさい。
うわ、嘘だろ。また火山が噴火するぞ。
Ah, okay, so you're supposed to...
宝刀イタチか？にしては大きいぞ。トラの宝刀でかいたちだな。
マグマイたちだよ。すっごく凶暴だから油断しないでね。
スイッチにめよ。契約を果たせ。口封じは任せたからね。
Nice.
すごい収穫だな。
それはマグマイたちの輪行だね。年素を噴射できるからビュンビュン動けるんだよ。昔お父さんから教わったんだけど、普段は火山の中に住んでる生き物なんだって。こうして出会えたのはとってもラッキーなんだ。 この輪行、もしかしたら雄三の目よりも高音を出せるかも。これで十分そうだね。
Nice fighting back there, by the way.
どんなに戦いたくないと思ってても、ちゃんと意識を切り替えられるよういろんな方法を考えたんだ。私、いろんな英雄のお話を読むのが好きなんだけど、前にも言ったように一番好きなのがフィエテナ様でね。そのトレードマークが仮面だったから、物語の描写を参考に同じようなものを作ったの。仮面をつけて私自身がフィエテナ様になったって信じ込むとね、その顔に泥を塗るわけにはいかないってなって勇気が湧いてくるんだ。でもこれじゃあフィエテナ様の後ろに隠れてるみたいだよね。
なるほどな。
ほんと？けどいつかは仮面を外して自分に向き合わなきゃ。ただその一歩がなかなか踏み出せないの。気づくとまたこの仮面の力に頼っちゃう。
You were the one who decided
こ
to
の先も
investigate this
ずっと
case.
そうなんじゃないかって不安で。
そう
そうなんだね。
バレサはもう十分。
いつも励ましてくれてありがとう。それにいろいろ教えてくれるし、二人には感謝してもしきれないよ。よーし、もっともっと成長して英雄の名前に隠れず自分の名前と向き合えるようになってみせる。はあ、気分がすっきりしたらなんだかお腹が空いてきちゃった。それじゃあ北条の国に帰ろっか。今度こそキノコの剣士の条件を満たせるはずだよ。
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that nope, we're gonna have to go inside the friggin' volcano, chat. We're getting closer and closer, but it is not hot enough yet.
冒険者の生活はこれが運命か。
What the heck just happened? I think I bounced off of the wall or something, and my poor Mavuika just ended up eating dirt. Alright, let's see here. Back we go.
Tadaima! どっさり収穫をも。
おう、こっちも準備万端だ。
鉄の塊を真っ赤になるまで熱しておいた。今度こそうまくいくだろう。
高い火力が必要って言ってたから最上級のかまどを持ってきたぞ。
マグマを岩のバケツに何杯も用意したから燃料が必要なら言ってくれ。
Looks like we're gearing up for a fight, not cooking a few mushrooms.
そうだな。
あのキノコがバレサと俺たちの英雄様をバカにするからだ。お前もそう思うだろう。
そうよ。これならそのキノコの剣士ってやつも何も言うことないでしょ。
ありがとうみんな、本当にありがとう。
じゃあ持ってきたものを見せてもらおうか。お、マグマイたちの輪行じゃないか。まさか火山の中に入ったのか。
いや、たまたま。
ああ、これはかなり使えると思うぞ。前に俺が料理の研究をしてた時も温度が食材に与える影響を重視しててな。この輪行は非常に高い温度を局所的に作り出すことができるんだ。これを使って食べ物を焼くと片面は生の状態を保ちながらもう片面に焦げ目をつけられる。特に魚料理にはもってこいなんだ。よし、早速調理しよう。キノコの用意はできてるぞ。ああ。
この前の2、3倍はあるんじゃないか。まるで霧の。え、
Monka W? Damn, we got transported to the land of shrooms, chat. Assuming the game will load at all. Come on, Genshin. I believe in you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, chat. That took much longer than I thought it would.
わからない。気づいたらここにいて、みんなもいなくなっちゃった。
おい、どうした？
赤トルか？オイラたち。
知らない場所？確かに突然濃い霧が出たが、ほら、今も集落にいるぞ。
You didn't feel anything strange.
何も感じないが、異変ってのは何のことだ？
Must be the Sage Lord's trick, but it's only affecting the three of us. Why us and not the others?
もちろん越見者にふさわしいのが貴様らだけだからだ。
やっぱりお前の仕業か。
うん。確かに今まで見てきたキノコンたちより悪そうに見えるね。
貴様らの不遜な態度にいちいち反応するのも疲れた。とにかくさっきの働きぶりには満足したぞ。約束通り求めていた答えをやろう。ただし世の目的はそれだけではない。もう一度言おう。世は偉大なるキノコの剣士。新たな臣民を欲している。
誰がなるか。
そうせくでない。世の中に絶対はないのだ。そのように断定してしまえば後悔するかもしれないぞ。答えるのは世の起こす奇跡を目にしてからでも遅くはない。早速見せてやろう。知っての通り、テイワットは決して平和な大陸ではない。魔人が戦い、魔物がはびこり、人間にとっての生存環境も劣悪だ。ある日、人間は世を発見し、無限の力を世から授かれば恐ろしい強敵にも打ち勝てるようになると知った。
これを食べると強くなれるぞ。
こんな魔物どうってことねえよ。
そして人間は世の恩恵にすがり、世は皆にこの名を告げた。キノコの剣士と。
そんなおとぎ話信じないぞ。
言うではないか。世が機嫌を損ねる前に謝罪と前言撤回の機会をやろう。
誰がいる？
パイモンちゃんの言う通り、恐ろしい魔物でもないし、私でもなんとかできそう。
人間ごときが随分と強気に出る。そこまで言うのならやってみるといい。
I mean, if we're asked to fight some fungi, then yeah, this is not going to be a problem for us.
全力攻撃。
さあ、働きなさい。
トラリー、イツパパ、そうよ。
やるではないか。さすが世の分身をあれほど食べただけある。ふん、世の人を見る目に間違いはなかったようだな。
こいつ
貴様らも多少は腕に覚えがあるようだ。それは認めよう。だが世の起こす奇跡はこんなものではないぞ。
おい待て。どうする？追いかけるか？
うん、行こう。なんだかおとぎ話を聞いてるみたいで楽しいしね。出来はいまいちだけど。
I feel like Baressa's reading our mind. Because I 100% agree with her. I feel like this plot is kind of really, really stupid.
Yeah.
それから世は人間に信仰されるようになった。この力で分身を作り、人間に無限の食料を与えたのだ。食べ物は希少な資源だからな。腹を膨らませることができる信仰こそが最も有用で崇高な信仰なのだ。人間は建築や戦争で得た成果に応じてキノコを与えられる。最も優秀なものは日に20個ものキノコにありつけた。キノコだけでは足りないと？
その時代は誰もわがままを言ってる場合じゃなかったのかもね。
けど今の時代、ナタの竜たちだって毎食グレインの実じゃいや。
食料と力、この2つが信仰の基本だ。どうだ？世から恩恵を受けない理由などないであろう。首を縦に振れば世の臣民となりキノコ文明を築くことが。
I want to know what happened next.
その後その後のことなど。
そうそう、君を信仰して人が集まったっていうならすごい部族や国になってるはずだよね。でも私が見てきたナタの英雄譚のウォーベンにはキノコに関する内容はなかったと思うんだ。
当然だ。その時世は別の国にいたのだ。他国のことを貴様が知る由もないだろう。
We've been to Sumeru.
そうだぞ、キノコ
スメールとは一言も言っていないが、なぜスメールだと決めつけるのだ？
Well, because fungi are creatures from Sumeru. The buildings from your vision support that too.
そんなさまつなことを気にしてどうする？その後のことは貴様らごときに知る資格などない。
Then you don't deserve our faith either. Ooh.
そうだそうだ、オイラたちに信頼してもらいたいんだろ。なのに隠し事ばっかじゃないか。
中途半端な物語は説得力がないよね。
Damn.
ではこうしよう。これまでと同じように貴様らの知恵を持って答えを得よう。貴様らからさらなる価値を見出せない限り世は答えを渡さぬぞ。
あ、逃げた。追いかけるぞ。
Damn, this dude is such a sore loser.
ここに飛び込んだみたいだな。オイラたちも腹をくくって。
Hold on. Wait a minute.
お、何か思いついたのか、旅人。
There's something off about his motive.
真の。
うん、私もそう思うな。あの性格からして物語の続きを話したがらなかったのは何か良くないことがあったからだと思う。スメールからナタに来た理由についても話すのを避けてるみたいだった。けどそれでも私たちを親民にしようと躍起になってる。もちろん親民になんてなるわけないけど。
言われてみればそうだな。オイラたちが痛いところをついた時点で候補から外せばよかったのに。
He must be in dire need of subjects, and it has to be the three of us.
でもどうしてなんだろう。
Let's go after him and keep an eye out for clues along the way.
やるべき。
Alright, let's see here. Apologies, chat. I'm checking the Pokemon TCG app right now. Seems like there's some kind of like an event going on. Let me see here. I'm curious what this is. During this campaign, some Wonder Picks will give a chance to take a sneak peek. It'll be a little bit easier than usual getting the cards you're aiming for, so please try Wonder Picking during the campaign period. Ooh. Okay, okay. Alrighty then. Maybe we can try doing a wonder pick. Do we just need to jump down here? I guess so. Oh, it teleports us. Okay. Okay, nice. Alright, give me a quick second, chat, before we start running here. Gotta do my daily Pokemon polls on the TCG. See if I get anything useful at all. Ooh, nice. Brand new card. I got an EX card of a worm by the name of Wugtrio, which I don't know what the hell this Pokemon is. I don't know what the hell the Pokemon does. But it seems to be like a new Pokemon from the like newer generation of games. I'll take it though. I'll take it.
力っていうのはね、サボってると体から逃げちゃうんだよ。君も一緒にトレーニングどう？
Okay, I am missing 9 cards from the pack that I've been opening recently.
果物を育てるにはいろんなことを考えないといけないんだ。いい感じのタイミングで水やりと草むしりをしてあげて、鉱石の粉末で土に栄養を補給してあげて、
No bueno.
温度も快適に保ってあげるの。
I did not get the card that I
一番
wanted.
大切なのはやっぱり果物たちの気持ちに寄り添うこと。
Unfortunately, there's not really a lot of good options for wonder picking. Because in terms of like the rare cards that I actually want to get, like not a lot of you know, people in the wonder pick list have rare cards that I desire, right? A lot of them have kind of just like the normal pack cards that I can get on my own. But yeah. Anyways, I will log in later to the Pokemon app and I will, yeah, I'll deal with that at another time.
さて、よう見つけられるか？まさか迷子になってないよな。
早く追いかけるぞ。
Wait, hold on.
ここは任せてね。私が道を作るよ。キノコが一列に並ぶ時があるみたい。タイミングを見計らって。では、これはどうだ？
マリさん、やってろ。
大丈夫だよ。
No!
なんとかなる。
We got knocked off, chat. Really bad timing. Interesting.
ちょっと乗せてもらおう。飛び乗るよ。
You know, I thought that for this particular, you know, part of this quest, for this kind of 2D side to side
そろ
movement.
そろいけそうだね。せーの、ジャンプ。
Yeah, so for this part, I thought that, you know, you would have to, during certain moments, press the spacebar to jump, but it seems like if you just keep holding the right button, Varessa will kind of do the jumps on her own, so I didn't even realize that until, you know, failing a couple times.
ここは通さないぞ。
もう逃げ場はないよ。
なぜ貴様らはいつもそう乱暴なのだ。
This guy is such a wimp.
こいつ
残念、逃げられちゃったね。でも何か取れたよ。
これは霧の塊。待て、なんか大きくなってないか。
食べられちゃうのか。
られちゃうのか。ちゃうのか。
大技で返す人間め。このままでは世の分身は食い尽くされてしまう。分身が減ると世の力まで弱くなってしまうというのに、なんとかせねば。人間め、どんだけ食べる気なんだ。残りの力はわずかだが、人間一人を操る余裕はある。スネールにはもうこのキノコの美味しさが知れ渡った。ここでは成長できない。場所を変えなければ。それにたくさん繁殖するためにも良い環境を見繕う必要がある。おい、世を最も暑い場所に連れて行け。どれだけ暑くても構わぬ。
はい、王よ。
ここが世の望む場所だというのか、人間よ。
そうでございます。ここは極西にある火山。記録によると非常に高温のため、王が再び力を蓄えるにはもってこいの場所だと言えるでしょう。あなた様を最適な場所に植えるのはぜひとも私にさせてください。
良きに計らえ。地震か。噴火だの。
これがあいつの隠してたあの後に起きたことなのか。通りで口を開かなかったわけだ。情けなさすぎるだろ
う。美味しいキノコに惹かれて人が集まってキノコを毎日食べてたって言ってたけど、
どうやら集まった人が
人間に食料を与えることで心をつかもうとしてたほどだから、分身を生やすスピードには自信があったんだろうね。
Seems like his power is proportional to the number of clones he has.
人がたくさん食べるほど
だからせっかく作り上げた信仰もすぐに崩れちゃったのかも。
Yep.
確かに。それで
だね。どれくらい埋もれてたんだろう。話を聞く限り今のテイワットの状況に詳しくないみたいだけど、
ずっと下敷きにバレサの家が果樹園。
そういえばあの時お父さんとお母さんが不思議がってた気がする。毎日果樹園をきれいに掃除してるのにキノコが生えてくるなんて変だって。でもさっきの話を踏まえると、あのキノコ人間を乗っ取れるってこと？実は危険だったんだね。
Nah, I don't think he's strong enough to use it.
さっき見せられた幻をただだんだん力が弱くなっていったせいで。
今は私たちがどれだけ食べても平気みたい。
I understand now why it has to be us.
なんでなんだ？
Need to catch him to confirm my theory.
それじゃあ急ごう。
Ooh, nice. We got a chest, baby. Easy 10 primos. Okay, down we go.
また道が変わってる。まあ今さら驚く気にもなれないけど。
もっと奥を探そっか。一体どこに隠れたんだろうね。
Oh, looks like we got some enemies.
捕まえたにゃ。いたよ。
燃えろ。みんながそばに。
燃えよ。太陽の炎。
これでも追いつくというのか。素晴らしい。そうとくれば。
あいつ像の中に隠れちゃったぞ。どうすればいいんだ。あ、わかった。壊せばいいんだな。よーし。時間が。引き飛べ。ドーン。捕まえたにゃ。リオナの特製ドリ。行くよ。やっ。
スイッチにねよ。契約を果たせ。口封じは。
くらえ。みんなは俺が守る。
There we go.
しょうわるキノコめ。
すごく美味しいからつい油断しちゃってたけど、こんなに危険だったなんて。絶対君の思い通りにはさせないよ。
貴様らの知恵はなかなかのようだな。世の見立て通りだ。だが最も重要なことを誤解している。まさか世が貴様らを恐れて逃げ回っていたとでも。ここは世が作り出した世界。すべてが世の思い通りだ。陰謀が成就した今、それがバレたか否かなど些細な問題に過ぎない。
どういうこと？
キノコの剣士という名を名乗っているものの、世にはもう一つ貴様ら人類にとって馴染みある身分を持っているのだ。魔人ビフロンス。この果てしない殺し合いの絶対的な主役。
I'm gonna be honest. That name doesn't mean anything to me, chat. I don't know who the heck B-Franz is.
そうだ。愚かで浅はかで恩知らずの人間どもよ。ようこそはかの魔人戦争で無数の人間を庇護した魔人だぞ。貴様ら人間は日夜腹を空かせながら常に魔物の進行に目を光らせる必要があった。だが魔人がちょいっと指を動かせばすぐさま灰にできてしまう。貴様らは魔人に守られていたというのに、その愚かさと傲慢さによってその庇護を永遠に失ったのだ。だがそんなことは今さらどうでもよい。世の計画はすでに成功している。貴様らがキノコを調理した時、霧が出ていただろう。あれは霧などではなく胞子だ。少し経てば緑のキノコがうじゃうじゃ生えてくる。ほんのわずかな時間で数は倍々に増えていく。それが緑のキノコのすごいところだ。もちろん世の今の力では一瞬にして大量の分身を作り出すことはできない。だが全ての力を集中させて超高温に触れれば、ここにたどり着いたあの日から温めてきた計画がついに実現する。
じゃあお前が。
そうだ。しばらくすればキノコが狂ったように生えてくる。もう誰にも止められない。そして世は
再び全盛期の力を得るのだ。魔人としての尊厳と地位をすべて取り戻し、魔人戦争の真の勝者となってスメールに復讐を果たそう。
やっぱり時代
何がおかしい。魔人戦争、それが貴様ら人間にとっての災いの根源ではないか。貴様らも集落でよく戦争戦争と言っていただろう。魔人戦争を恐れるのなら自分たちを守ってくれる魔人を復活させた方が良いではないか。
でも戦争って
何？どういうことだ？
魔人戦争？そんな言葉、よそから来た人から数回聞いたことあるぐらいだよ。
ほうほう、わかったぞ。貴様らは世を騙そうとしているのだな。貴様らをここに閉じ込めるつもりでいたが、気が変わった。至る所がキノコで埋め尽くされた時、貴様らを元の場所に返してやろう。そして真の絶望を味わうがいい。もちろん絶望を希望にする方法はただ一つ。世に仕えキノコ王国での雑務を手伝うことだ。だがそれも今は気が変わった。
It was an empty deal from the start. That is true.
なんだと？
Let's see here. We weren't chosen because you saw something in us. We were your only option.
旅人さんが教えてくれたよ。私が君の声を聞けるのはあのキノコをたくさん食べてきたからだって。
そんでオイラは熱湯の宴の時にたくさん食べたからだ。バレさほど食べてなくても体が小さいから十分だったんだな。
And I happen to have a special constitution which made it easy to hear your voice.
普通の人の場合山ほどキノコを食べないと。だからお前はオイラたちに出会えたのが嬉しく。
今はまだキノコが十分生えてないから私たちを閉じ込めるほどの力はないよね。
確かに昔と比べて衰えてはいる。だが貴様ら人間を閉じ込めるぐらい造作もない。マッシュラプトルのような凶暴で強力な魔物を倒せるほどの手だれでない限り、まさかできるのか？
Forget about him.
そうだな。とっとと帰ろうぜ。
本当にこの子の言う通りならここで時間を無駄にするわけにはいかないしね。
おいおいおい、貴様らはただの人間なのだろ？まさか本当にそんな強いのか？あとアビスとの戦争とは何なのだ？教えろ
Damn.
バレサの言う通りだな。こいつと喋ってる時間がもったいないぜ。
Oh, did we make it back?
どうしよ
どうしよう。心配するな。ただのキノコだ。アトリー飯の時間だ。はいはいはいはいはい。あらららららら。あら。トントントントントン。
No way he did the Salt Bay.
バレサのやり方で戦おう。おかわり。
オイラたちも食べよう。
今日使った力が全部戻ってきたみたい。ごちそうさ
みんなに確認させたが、急に生えてきた緑のキノコは全部食べきったようだ。さっきは急に眠っちまってたが、何かあったのか？果樹園には魔人が植えられてて、バレサが毎日そいつを食べてたってことか？
この時代まで生き残ってる魔人が全員。
ま。しかも何か勘違いしてたみたいだったよ。アビスとの戦争のことを魔人戦争かなんかだと思ってたみたい。
バレサがその言葉をよく知らないのも無理はない。ナタでは魔人戦争なんてなかったからな。話題に上がらないのも当たり前だ。おお、あの時代竜があちこちで戦ってた。魔人の入り込む隙なんてなかったさ。
Makes sense.
で岩に生き
竜の時代と比べたら今はすごくいい暮らしだよね。
ところで
今まで通りでいいんじゃない？生えすぎないように気をつけてさえいれば、キノコなんてただの美味しい食料だよ。そうだ、旅人さん、ちょっといい？
Sure thing.
ここでいいかな。別にすごく大事なことってわけでもないんだけど、改めてお礼が言いたいの。キノコ調査に踏み切れたのは君の応援のおかげ。おまけに北条の国の危機も防げちゃった。しかもどう言えばいいのかな。こんな不思議な旅になるとは思ってなくて、すっごく楽しかったし大満足だよ。
It was pretty fun. It's an adventure I'll remember for a long time. Well, maybe the traveler will, but I might not, chat, to be completely honest.
記念すべき？
You got the chance to shine as a hero, and it was all you through and through.
食べることが部族を救う武器になるなんて不思議な感じだな。辛抱強くしっかり鍛錬を続けてれば、いつか輝ける瞬間はやってくるんだね。この先もし緊張したり怖くなったりした時は、今回の出来事とこの冒険で学んだことを思い出すよ。
Yep, you've got this.
話は終わったか？さっきアカトルがスメールの学者が緑のキノコオイラたちもっと調べる必要があるんじゃないか？
確かに。でもそれって教令院に行かないといけないってことだよね。赤トルおじさんに許可をもらわないと。
そっか。あと砂漠を越えないといけないから結構時間がかかる。
そうしよ
Yeah, he might be here in not long, potentially. Alright, let's see here. Gotta go to the main city. Let's see here. Let's go here. Teleport. And we're probably going to be talking to Catherine at the Adventurers Guild.
キャサリンが戻ってきたぞ。ってティーナリ
談義室のスタッフに伺ったところ、ちょうど正論派の学者がナタを訪れているとのことで連絡を取ってくれたんです。
久しぶり。君たちだったんだね。キノコの犬種について調べてるんだって？
そうなんだ。
うん。正論派ではその魔人は生物史の常識とされてる。分身の数が力の強さと直結してる分、一時は相当立派な姿をしていたようだよ。けどどんどん小さくなっていって、最後には実体を保つのも難しくなったんだ。だから学者たちも本体の行方をつかめなくてね。残された分身を研究することしかできなかったんだけど、まさかナタに来てたなんて。
私たちも正体を知ったのはついさっきなんだ。
君たちの話だともう数は少ないみたいだし、心配はいらないよ。いい食材なのは間違いないしね。 でも研究のためにも正論派からそちらに定期的に学者を派遣して様子を見させてもらってもいいかな。君の同意が得られたら談義室に正式に申請するよ。
もちろん大丈夫だよ。そう言ってもらえてむしろこっちも安心。ところで残った分身って他の場所にもいるの？
双眼巨園の下層にも大きなキノコがあるんだけど、それも実はこの魔人の分身なんだ。
あれ知ってるの？
すっごくで
ザマランは長期間の成長で変異した結果でね、緑じゃないから脅威にならなかったのは幸いと言えるだろう。ずっと本体から離れてたことで意識もすでに魔人と切り離されてるはずだ。
せっかくだし。
私も行きたい。フレンドリーなキノコみたいだし。
そうだね。けどせっかくのフレンドリーなキノコだ。食べたらいけないよ。
もうそんなことしないよ。
Nice. Hell yeah. Act 3 completed, baby. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, chat, that was a very interesting quest. I think I now understand why it was not labeled as an Archon quest or, you know, a more serious quest. It was kind of just labeled as a regular story quest. I think I get it, right? It definitely felt to me as if this was like kind of side story material. And it was entertaining, somewhat entertaining, a little bit goofy, a little bit you know, childish. It did feel like a story where if you are a Genshin player who is, you know, a teenager or a preteen or whatever, you might really, really like it. But I think for me, it was a little bit too much of like a I don't know, kind of like this cartoon story type dealio. So I didn't really personally connect with it a whole lot, but it was nice to get to see Veressa and see the Collective of Plenty through this quest overall. I did enjoy it decently, you know, sufficiently. Yeah, I think that there have been worse quests in the game that I've experienced in the past, so, you know, this is not something that I hated severely, right? But yeah, chat, let me see here. How long have I been live for? 3 hours, that's not that bad. 11 p.m. Okay. Yeah, chat, I think it's a little bit too late to like start doing any other like quests or any other content. I don't think that we'll be able to do anything in Wuthering Waves, and I don't think that we'll be doing any more you know, lengthy content in Genshin for today. So I think what I'll go ahead and do is I will end off the live stream here. I'll go ahead and conclude things at this point. Let's see here. So the next time that I will do a YouTube live stream, I don't really know. I'm not really sure when I will be available. The one thing that, you know, I can talk about. So, okay, for this week, right? Tomorrow is Thursday for me, and on Thursday, I know that in the afternoon, I will be occupied. I will be busy. So I'm definitely not going to be streaming tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, right? And then on Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week, those are 3 days that I am scheduled to stream on Twitch. So I'll be streaming on Twitch. I will be likely playing Lies of P, continuing with my playthrough of the game. And so that'll be kind of like, you know, my main focus during the evening time, right? Next week, so I want to say that next week on Tuesday is my very first day of college classes that I have for the next quarter. And so next week is when I start to get busy, you know, and my schedule fills up. Um, I don't know if I can find a day next week to do a YouTube live stream. But if I do get the opportunity, if I am somehow able to do a YouTube live stream next week, I would love to do one and play through the Wuthering Waves story quest. However, nothing is really guaranteed, and you know, my plans could change at any moment. My schedule could shift, so I can't promise anything. But we'll see. We'll see. In any case, you know, for anyone out there who does want to, you know, watch any content that I normally do, you can check out my Twitch channel. It's always available there, and you can watch some of my, you know, live streams or some of my VODs after they're published. But yeah, for today, I'm gonna say farewell for the end of this live stream. And a good night to everyone out there, since it's almost midnight where I am. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. This was basically the entire like 5.5 Veressa story quest live stream is all it was. Hopefully all of you out there, you know, if you're playing Genshin, hope you guys are enjoying the game. If you're playing, you know, Honkai Star Rail or any other, you know, gacha game out there, hope you guys are enjoying those experiences as well. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me today, chat. Thank you to Icy Hot, thank you to Stellar82 for stopping by, saying hello, and of course, massive thank you to anyone out there who decided to lurk around and you know, watch the stream silently. It means a lot. Appreciate you guys very much so. Alright, I'm gonna swap over to the ending screen and I will turn off the stream in a quick second. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace out, much love, bye bye, I'll see you guys later, bye. Alright, let's do this.